Breaking news. Ezekiel Elliott is a New England Patriot. Dalvin Cook is a New York Jet. Adam Schefter texted Pat and I to break the news so that we were prepared to launch this pod. Let's do it, gang. All right, as I said, we're here to talk through the breaking news. We have the winner of Best Ball Mania 3 and a friend of the channel, the owner of Legendary Upside, Pat Kerrane. Pat, man, how you doing first and foremost?
Doing good. Yeah, it's been an exciting day of breaking news as we're about to get to.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Obviously, first tell the listeners and you, me and Justin, I was invited, so Justin organized this. We had a Tampa Bay area meetup. We met up at a bar, had a beer with the boys, ripped a Best Ball Mania. So that was fun. We did that.
Nice.
So had a good time at that. We got the news that Zeke is going to be a Patriot there. A lot of Zeke haters there. I mean, a lot of Ramondre haters there. I personally still can see the upside case with Ramondre. He's going to catch balls. Yeah, maybe he's not the great goal line back we envisioned for a man of his size. But let's start with Zeke, man. I mean, Zeke got surprising money. Now, we don't know the guarantees. $6 million was a reported figure, which is frankly absurd for a man of Ezekiel Elliott's talents at this point of his career. I think what we think Zeke still does good is short yardage and third down, blitz pickup and shit like that. So how worried are you about Zeke in New England? How far do you think Ramondre should drop, and how far do you think he will drop? Let's start there.
I mean, yeah, I think Zeke is pretty much washed. So we don't need to worry too much about him, taking the job or anything like that. But it definitely hurts Ramondre's upside for sure. I think he can steal some goal line work. He can steal some pass blocks. He's probably not going to steal a bunch of receptions, but he could steal snaps that Ramondre might have turned into receptions that Zeke will just not do anything with. So it's not ideal. I think, to me, the Ramondre stuff has always been a little bit disconcerting, because why are they doing this? They have Ramondre, they have Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong, who appear to be pretty solid backups, but they've been talking up utilizing Ty Montgomery as a receiver. They've talked to all the free agent running backs. It seemed pretty clear that they wanted to add someone else this whole time. I've been lower than ADP on Ramondre for weeks in my rankings because I just felt like the shoe was going to drop here. And then I was like, if it doesn't, how much are they even going to lean on Ramondre? I don't think he's kind of the elite talent that Breece Hall might be. We'll get to that. But I've been a little bit bearish on Ramondre because I was worried about this. So I had him. So I dropped him, but maybe not as much as some others might. I dropped him he's now 39th in my rankings. I don't know if he'll drop further than that. He probably will.
For those confused, that's right around where Najee goes, right around where ETN goes. So
yeah, I have him one spot behind ETN in the rankings. So yeah, I think, two spots now behind ETN. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking he's still pretty valuable. He's probably going to be more of a committee back than we'd like. He doesn't have the path to consolidating all the touches as easily as he previously did. But I think I'll be ahead of market now. Or what are your thoughts on that?
So, with Ramondre, nothing's really changed for me the upside case is the dude's going to get a lot of targets. It's an offense that could be very bad, right? Like reports are that the O-line is really bad too. Nick Rudman, works for Underdog, huge Patriots fan, famously told me that he would never trust my player evaluations after I said signing those tight ends was bad. And then I retweeted him after he won BBM2. No, I'm kidding. Nick and I are friends, but he was the one saying that like the O-line is a big worry and like no one is draftable from New England other than Ramondre. Now, I think where you ranked him is where I would draft him. In that mix of ETN, in that mix of Najee. I don't imagine, like falling to the 4-5 turn where like Ken Walker is in gang. I would have 100% clip at that rate. On the player is washed thesis, like, yeah, I think Zeke is washed. I will say that we as fantasy players have really bad insight of like when players are playing through injury, so I don't know if Zeke was banged up at all. He is obviously old, so like that leads to the wash theory. But I could see with a coach that being endearing of like maybe he was like banged up and pushing through it. Reportedly everyone's saying Ramondre is a bad short yardage back. So yeah, I mean, I would just draft a lot of him in that 4-5 turn. It's where we're just like taking wide receivers just for structural reasons, anyways, right? Like we don't think that some of these wide receivers who, I mean, some people even started to ask questions about these guys, Christian Kirk and gang. I mean, I don't have as much questions about Kirk as others. I'm not really reading into that, 2 wide receiver sets in a first preseason game where it's like maybe they don't want to risk Kirk.
I think that's bad news for Kirk. He's a career slot receiver who now looks like a slot receiver. It's not.
We'll get to that. We'll stay focused on. We could talk about that at the end, but on Ramondre, yeah, I mean, he's like pretty much the only Patriot I want to take. Some Hunter Henry, sure, but like I think a big takeaway that people should have on teams like the Patriots with the Tyquan Thornton shares and such. Like I was going to write an article on this.
Tyquan Shortman kind of works.
Well, is on bad teams where it's ambiguous, pass. Like let it play out, figure it out, but don't gamble on the bad offenses, maybe wide receiver 2 or 3, right?
Right.
Where it's like all of a sudden you have these Tyquan Thornton bags and you're like, shit.
Yeah. I have a lot of Devontae Parker now, but I don't have much Thornton.
And even Parker, it's like, okay, he has more clarity, got the contract, but
he has a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not panicking about Ramondre. How do you think the markets will react? Do you think the markets will react like, on DraftKings? Are we going to see six round Ramondre at all?
Yeah,
which is a more reactive market than Underdog.
But here's what I would say: like, I'm going to put my ranks as basically like what I think the ranking should be, but.
As anyone should.
Right. But if and ADP is baked into it some, but the ADP is going to change a lot. So that's, I'm kind of overriding the ADP thing that I do and just like putting these guys where I think they should go. And then the market is going to figure that out. As it figures it out, it's likely to offer some really big discounts on these guys in the next few days, because even people like me, right? Like I'm going to be probably above the market on Ramondre going forward, and certainly above market on Breece Hall. And yet, will I take Breece Hall now or Ramondre Stevenson at like around 39? No, I'm going to see if I can get them the next round and see how far this fall is going to go. I'm going to wait it out and get a sense of what the market is before coming in and making my stamp, especially on Hall, who I already have a ton of, right? I want to see where he's going to settle. If that costs me a couple days of getting more Hall, so be it, I want to know what the ADP is and also see if I can be in one of those rooms where he does go in the 6th. So I think we're going to see the lowest prices that we get on both of these guys today and tomorrow, right? And then as we sort of start to get a sense of where they settle, on DraftKings, which is more reactive, maybe that discount lasts a little longer, but eventually I think they're running backs. And they'll kind of move back up over time as we get closer to the season, because that's that's what we tend to see happen with running back ADP. So, like, I don't think either of these guys settles in the 6th, like, or really anywhere close. But I think that there will be screenshots of them in the 6th, I bet.
Well, and we need to say that for Ramondre, Zeke is the best free agent to compete with, right? Like competing with Dalvin Cook, legitimately kind of concerning. Like probably still has some in the tank. Competing with Fournette kind of overlaps, has pass catching prowess.
Fournette's actually the guy that concerns me the most.
Yeah, but like Zeke,
for really any of these guys, because he can take the dump off thing, and I just don't want to deal with that.
So it's like if there's a free agent back to compete with, even Darrell Williams. Like I don't know what Darrell Williams has in the tank. I'm pretty sure I know what Zeke can and can't do. Which it's like, so okay, sure. Could Zeke sun run 10 touchdowns in some like crazy season where New England moves the ball and gets pushed out the one a bunch? Maybe. I'm definitely not drafting Zeke if he climbs up boards at all.
I know I'm very different from the market here, but I think Dalvin is just as washed as Zeke. He was worse in a lot of the advanced stuff last year. To me, they're kind of now. I think the NFL disagrees with me, which is important.
He's at least a little fast. I'll give Dalvin that. Like, you can't say he's not faster than Zeke.
He's faster than Zeke.
Maybe he's super washed too. Let's just jump into it. You've been a big Brees guy. I personally was not drafting Brees at the 2-3 just because I kind of thought this would happen. But I've been drafting him relentlessly at the 3-4, and I'm still happy with that process, even if he falls to the 4-5, because he's not falling. I don't think to the
5-6.
To the 5-6, where it's like that's the only way you feel bad about Brees 3-4, because it's just a unique combo, right? Versus Brees 5-6, this is like, oh no, people have like 3-4 players plus Brees. So let's talk about Brees. Dalvin Cook got a lot of money. I think Evan Silva's already here, victory lapping, fading Brees, which he said the Brees Hall fades are cooking today.
Yeah. No, well, Evan plays, I believe Evan plays in tournaments that pay out all the money in week 1. Right?
Right? So we all know that Brees is a transcendent talent. Now, how talented he is hard to say. I kind of thought he was like Ken Walker last year in that he was a boom bust guy. And it kind of seemed weird to me how like we penalized Walker for that, but no one really ever talked about that with the Jets. Now, the Jets were so hard to diagnose anyways, because how do you diagnose a Zach Wilson-led offense that then has Mike White? It's like it's such a weird situation. But
part of it for me is that he didn't profile like that in the NFL next gen stuff, which Walker did. Walker really did. His success rate was very poor last year, which that NFL next gen success rate I think is pretty interesting because it can factor in things like defenders in the box and stuff. And I also think success rate is kind of interesting because like maybe coaches aren't looking at this version of it, but I think coaches care about reliability a lot. Like, do you do the right thing? Do you hit the right hold? Like DeAndre Swift's success rate was abysmal. I think that's related to what happened to him in Detroit, even if they aren't kind of saying it by that name. But Brees Hall was really good in success rate. He had a 43% success rate, which is like very strong last season. He was explosive too, but he wasn't inconsistent in the same way that Walker was. Walker's like a true boom bust guy. So that's, to me, I was kind of like, hey, you get Walker, you get a bigger version of Walker who is more consistent and was a better receiver. Walker's obviously a pretty poor receiver, and Hall flashed as a receiver with a better receiving prospect profile as well. So there are some similarities to Walker, but all around, he just profiled as a much better bet, in my opinion.
Okay, well, let's jump into what we think the market can do. It is going to do. Personally, I could see Brees falling a little bit past the Najee ETN tier and into the 4-5 turn. I don't see him falling further than that. Maybe he slots next to Walker. I don't think he should at 4-5. I would just 100% buy. This is like, I don't really want to be clicking on DeAndre Hopkins and crew anyways. Right. Like, I don't want to click on DJ Moore. I'll take Brees Hall, figure it out. Now, like you, when there's players that are falling in the market, I'm not always the end of the line. Where like with J.K. Dobbins, I was confident J.K. Dobbins was going to play, but I wanted to see where he would go sometimes, right? Like, would he make it all the way back to me? Because sometimes, like, that's when, like, players are, like, you truly get info, like, oh, they're going to move a full round. And as news plays out, you know, like,
right, because you can do more with that info than you can with that one share.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of get a sense from that. And so I agree with that. I mean, I regret sometimes not taking Dobbins at the end of the 7th round and seeing how I could push him to the 8-9 turn on DraftKings or whatever. But, you know, there is kind of, I think I do have some 8th round DraftKings Dobbins though. So yeah,
I mean, his ADP was just like 8-9, I think.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy.
But what the market's going to do with Breece, I think, is a lot harder than Ramondre, because whether Dalvin is or isn't washed, I don't know if public sentiment and like
it's that he's not washed. Public
sentiment, and there's other people that are like,
washed.
You know, like I think like the Underdog crew is pretty in on, like, I think Hayden had some positive things about Dalvin. You know, I don't want to speak for anyone.
Silva loves Dalvin, so you know the ETR. I think ETR is going to there might be a civil war over this, but there's certainly some Dalvin love there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could be a Silva war, because I heard some negative Dalvin talk at the brewery meetup. So,
well, Dalvin, I mean, can we just do the Dalvin thing real quick? Because I do think what he has flashed in recent seasons is like highly, highly concerning. And then he was cut by the Vikings, supposed to be this franchise running back for the Vikings. They cut him, you know. Yeah, he got $8.6 million. Let's see how that's structured, because I don't, you know, I think there's some incentives there. That seems like a good bet. He was reportedly, there was some rumors he was kind of told that they still really like Breece and it's not going to just be his job or whatever. So he's going to have to compete. But more importantly, now we're getting kind of a narrative bullshit. But more importantly, in yards per route run, he was previously a good receiver at his peak. He had 1.78 yards per route run in 2019, which is very good. 1.37 in 2020, which is pretty good too. He fell off in 2021 to 0.85 yards per route run, which isn't great. Fell again to 0.72 last year. That's a major concern for his receiving efficiency. And then in these NFL Next Gen numbers, he was atrocious last year. He had a 32% success rate. The only running backs worse than that were Michael Carter, Kenyon Drake, and James Robinson. Those are the only 3 running backs. Zeke, not one of the guys I mentioned. Zeke was actually pretty solid in that metric.
Does this take into account O-line abilities or no?
This is looking at, it's like it measures their speed at the line of scrimmage and like defender positioning. So it's player tracking. So it would not account for like whether or not your O-line's getting the blocks, like blocking. It's not going to. So to some extent, it's a team metric. Yeah.
Because I just can't think of 2 different offenses versus like a Kirk Cousins, which is basically just like a constant shootout team, which has like awful defense, is going to be perpetually throwing the ball. The O-line's probably tired as hell because they literally are just playing like that many snaps a game versus like the Dr. Rogers offense, which is like slow, diagnosing it. Maybe he checks into a favorable run look. So it's like I could see some weird things like that helping with Dalvin. Let's talk about goal line. Who, like, in the beginning of the season, I kind of see them, like, let's assume Breece is ready to go week 1 too. I kind of see them just being like, you know what, let's bang Dalvin up there.
For sure.
Because we don't care. But when they need to win late in the season, especially in what's going to be like, it's going to be a dogfight to see who gets in the playoffs in the AFC. Like the Dolphins good, the Bills good, the Jets good. They're probably not all making it, especially when you got like, you know, you got the AFC North division, who it's like Ravens good, Bengals good, Browns maybe good if Deshaun is good, Steelers got some, you know, so it's like teams, they're going to need to win games. And that might play to the like, you know what, they just got to play Breece. I also wonder with the Zeke signing, if this is new, like part of it could be like if New England is not good and they were like, you know what, let's save Ramondre for a season here and just like bang, like use up Zeke.
I don't think teams think like that.
You don't think
I don't think
teams
teams
think like that
save players for no. Not
at
especially
running back?
quarterbacks.
I don't know.
No, I don't think
All
so.
right. Tea leaf theory. Pat disagrees with it. Anyways, talk more about how you see the split playing out with Dalvin and Brees. Personally, I'm not going to be buying Dalvin and Zeke as risers at all. In that Best Ball Mania, Zeke won the 11th round, which is just like
I lowered Dalvin in my ranks.
crazy land to me that Zeke did. I was buying Dalvin when he fell into the 120s, which like the past recent days he was there. And the 120s was like, it's like Damian Harrison crew is there, which we have questions on them too. So talk about how you see the Jets playing this out. Obviously, this is major projection by everyone. Literally, we got the news like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I lowered Dalvin in my ranks, but not a lot. I lowered him from like 97 to 103. So
you were already pretty high on him ranking wise. Like that's higher than like guys like Khalil Herbert, guys like
right. I lowered him behind Khalil Herbert now. I have Herbert up much higher than ADP. But I think he gets to range pretty quickly. But yeah, I had him, but a lot of it was baking in some of the upside of him going to the Dolphins, where if he went to the Dolphins, like if you think about it like this, imagine Dalvin Cook.
Guys are winners. We got to talk about
they're
that.
They're big winners. Yeah, I just took I'm on the clock in a Mastiff, and Raheem Mostert was in the queue, so that's waiting until the Dalvin signing was at least smart.
I hate the sweat lords getting paid off, but when it's a friend, it's not so bad.
Well, you know what? I only sat on the clock for a couple hours. So it wasn't that bad. But so I think with Dalvin, like, if he had gone to the Dolphins, or think about it like this. Imagine Dalvin was definitely going to be on a team, like, because there were some, like, with all these guys, I feel like they're a little bit underpriced because people are worried. And then so Dalvin's with a team, and the team signed either Raheem Mostert, Devin Achane, and Jeff Wilson, or Brees Hall. If his team signed Brees Hall, you would lower Dalvin's ADP, right? So I'm just like, to me, I don't know. I'm wanting to hear if I'm just like two in the bag for Brees here, but I did not think this was good for Dalvin relative to where I had him anyway, because it really hurts his late season upside compared to what he could do with the Dolphins. Like Brees Hall, look, yeah, I think Brees Hall probably plays 40% of snaps, 35% of the snaps in week 1. That might continue on for, through week 4, something like that.
I mean, like they could get like blown out by Buffalo too and just be like, you know what, Brees, let's save it for week 2.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like week 2, week 3, week 4, easily could have 40% of snaps. Dalvin Cook, clear lead back. All the Dalvin Cook guys, victory lapping. We got the lead back. Imagine drafting. Imagine drafting the Jets back up in the 4th round. All that stuff, right? You get Dalvin Cook. We got the Jets lead running back. We got the lead running back on a Super Bowl team at pick 100, right? All that stuff. I would expect all of that stuff. I think that's likely, but none of the money's made in week 4. The money's made in week 17, and I don't see how this can be good news for Dalvin Cook's week 17 upside and especially if he moves up in price, where you're getting more than just kind of like a Samaje Perine type of like a Samaje Perine plus, right? Like you're getting a little bit better version of that type of play. But if his price is more than that, then I'll just be out, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's great for, like, in some senses it is good for Dalvin, right? Where it's like, it's a good team at least.
Good for his early season production.
There should be early season production. On the other sense, like Zonathan Knight and Michael Carter are kind of like stiff competition for and Abanikanda. Like those aren't nobodies, at least. Like they've at least done some stuff in the NFL. And like Aaron Rodgers is such a weirdo where if he likes a player, that player is going to play. So if like Aaron Rodgers was the reason, like remember he restructured that contract to get the money, kind of to like stick it to Green Bay. But if he was like, you know what, we need to win the Super Bowl, we need Dalvin Cook. I had a great time talking with that dude after our Vikings Green Bay games. Like
he also loves Gold member.
Yeah, like that could be bad news for Brees in that sense, which I watched the first game or the first night of Hard Knocks. Brees was not in the episode, if I recall. I saw you talking about Aaron Rodgers.
He was in the episode. I saw him a few times. They cut to him, but they didn't mention him.
Nothing. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, this Tuesday night's Hard Knocks episode, tomorrow night's could be some. They also didn't put Dalvin in it, which they could have put that visit in,
sure,
if they wanted to. So I don't know. It's a tough situation. It's a situation where like I kind of have enough Brees where I want to see what the market does.
Yeah, right. I don't want to go in and like scoop 311 Brees. You know what I mean? Like I have plenty of Brees. I want to see where he settles. I suspect that my ranking will ultimately look like too bullish relative to where he settles, right? But I think that you don't.
Well, you're trying to wait in winning money in week 17.
Winning money in week 17,
which is different than
closing line value.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just going to be, but don't like if you're drafting off the legendary upside rankings right now, you know, I would say in the Brees case, just maybe don't don't draft him where I have him ranked because my ranking's more kind of for the longer term. And I don't want to go in and lower him to like 45th and then lower him back, you know, like
my rankings have context. Like Joe Mixon's ranked 80th, and it's like, look, if you want Joe Mixon, you cannot draft off my rankings, you know?
Yeah. But it's just like with highly volatile situations like this, you know, just maybe wait it out and see how it goes.
How high could you see Dalvin going? Because I think, if Zeke goes in the 11th, are we going to start seeing 8th round Dalvin, which to me is just like a pure fade, obviously. Like, I cannot imagine taking him over guys like James Cook, Rashad White, Damian Pierce.
If I go through, if I go look at I'm not a
David Montgomery I'll present a draft board to make this easier.
Yeah, I'm not a David Montgomery guy, but I would rather have David Montgomery.
But the market might not.
I think that's about where I could see him going up into the. Let's see, Montgomery is in the mid to late 7th. I could see him going kind of in the late 7th or early 8th.
So for the visual
what's the difference between him and James Conner from the market's perspective? Like the market doesn't want to be, they're not psyched about Conner. Obviously Conner's like a workhorse, but he's an early season kind of play. The market might think Cook is the clear lead back. So I could see him moving up into the early 80s.
I mean, he has to move up, right? Like him already having an ADP of 100 and him moving up. I'd tell Zeke won in the 11th. Another guy in the YouTube chat said that Zeke won in the 11th in his, and Zeke's ADP was in the 16th before the news.
Well, Zeke was an easy click before, right? Because we knew this was going to happen. We knew Zeke was going to play.
He's like Julio to me. He's like, go ahead, people. Go celebrate your CLV on Zeke. Like, I don't see him being the key to money.
Well, he's not going to be a classic league winner, of course, because he's done.
And he's not going to score against the Bills week 17 because it's the Patriots versus the Bills. Zeke but, you might get those 6 games in the regular season.
Well, yeah, but seriously, I mean, if you're building out teams that need that running back production, where he was going before, he was pretty easy to fit in. I'm underweight on Zeke on both DraftKings and Underdog.
I have 0%.
Yeah, I have more Fournette than Zeke. But I'm not that underweight. I'm at 4% on DraftKings and 5% on Underdog. So I was willing to take him. And it's more like, his ADP is going to move up, and I need a running back right now, and I could use some whatever kind of dude has a job fill-in production, and even though he doesn't have a job right now, he will. But that's kind of the same way I view Dalvin, except you're going to get that early season bump. You're going to.
I think if you want Dalvin, you should draft literally today and push it though. Don't take him. I mean, I cannot imagine Rashad White, who got banged up, went in the 8th round in this one. That is a clear tier that Dalvin should never enter to be unless we get news that Brees is seriously having a setback and it's just the Dalvin Cook show.
Sure. That would change things.
Which is not impossible, I guess, but it's doesn't have a path to a clear starter. In my books Dalvin once Brees is back, plus the other guys are there. Could you take him over AJ Dillon? Sure. Can you take him over Pacheco? Yeah. But I'm taking White over him. I'm taking Connor over him. I'm taking Kamara. I'm taking James Cook. I'm taking Javonte. Montgomery's a weird one, but I'm also taking him. I'm taking Dobbins. I'm taking Akers. I'm taking DeAndre Swift. I'm taking Pierce. I'm taking Sanders over Dalvin Cook. And I might even take like a guy like Khalil Herbert.
That's where I slot him behind Herbert. He's one spot behind Herbert in my ranks now.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to be now. If the market jumps him up, I don't know. Just take like some wide receiver has to fall, like maybe Quentin Johnston starts falling. So
I legitimately think Herbert is a better running back than this version of Dalvin Cook. I do.
Not crazy to say.
Yeah, I mean it actually feels crazy to say because I'm at such odds with I feel like the larger market here, but like Dalvin Cook was horrendous in every advanced metric and just turned 28 years old. Like this is not a story that has like ever gone well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to be betting against this dude. But if you think about like what Herbert has shown, Herbert flashed last year. Like he was really efficient. And he looks like the lead back for the Bears. So it's like, I get a guy who's the lead back for the Bears for potentially the whole season. Now, he could certainly lose the job, but potentially I have the entire season's starter for the Bears.
And if Fields gets hurt, all of their contingent value goes up, right?
That's an interesting thought as well.
Like people don't think about like if you're going to say, oh, well, Fields is going to take some of the rushing share, as long as the offense doesn't fall off the earth.
Although I think Herbert was efficient partly, and not partly,
because
a lot because of how good Fields is as a rusher. So, but yeah, my thing with Cook, right? Like if you're dealing with, even if you view Hall as a pure backup, it's still like a massive problem that he's there at the end of the season. Even if he's literally just a backup, right? Even if it's a Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, where like, no, even a big Najee fader like me thinks he's the starter, right? If that's the case, if that's the way the Jets are going to play this, it's still a huge problem for Dalvin Cook, like a huge problem, because Breece Hall is just much better than him at this point.
All right, so you could see in this draft, Breece went 33. Ramondre was quote unquote reached at 25 here, which I didn't think was crazy because I still think he can produce like a round 1-2 back. You know, like, is it going to be shocking to me if Ramondre outscores Saquon Barkley and we look back at the Zeke signing? We're like, oh, wow, we were worried about Zeke? No, it's not. But what the market's going to do you think the market's going to rank Najee ahead of Breece and Ramondre? And then
Breece for sure.
ETN, obviously, yes. What about Ken Walker?
I have ETN ahead now. I have ETN ahead of both these guys.
And I think ETN in best ball always should be because he's a breakaway runner, right? He's like, maybe hard sit, start, and manage, but we're not playing manage. Ken Walker and Joe Mixon.
I think the market will have.
Let me put it this way. If Ramondre or Breece was on the clock, knowing what I know now, I would have taken both of them over Ken Walker, who I quote unquote reached for here to get a little.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the range. I think that's the range that they end up in. 4 or 5 turn kind of range.
Do you think how about these like empty calorie guys like Madison and Jones?
Yeah, I mean, Silva will take Madison ahead for sure. But I think he legitimately will. I don't even.
If I had the ability to DM Silva, he has his DMs closed. I would have invited him on.
I would love for Silva to come on. Let me see if he wants to jump.
Send him the link, dude. Just be like, hey, jump on this guy's stream. He'll be like, who's this? All right. Well, let's jump into the Miami guys because personally, I've had I draft a chain. I kind of view him as a clear tier after, even with the penny questions. Like I'm drafting usually all of the Penny, P. Ryan, Brian Robinson, Gibson, Dalvin and crew, all above Devon Achane. Obviously, Achane's usage in the preseason was good to weird. I mean, bad to weird, where it's like he got, he played well into the third and fourth quarter. Got no run with the starters. Mostert is the guy I've had the hardest time clicking just because he's kind of like age reasons. And like, I thought his breakaway runner role is like kind of the same thing as a chain. And so I kind of like wanted more Jeff Wilson, where I thought about it as like Jeff Wilson is more leverage off of a Tyreek or Waddle, where it's like a Tyreek or Waddle gets pushed out at the 5-yard line and Wilson can punch. I mean, if Evan Silva jumps on this, which clearly Pat is messaging him, just electric.
Him, yeah.
Are the Miami guys going to move up in the market? How are you viewing the Miami rotation? Are you worried about Devon Chain? Jeff Wilson's been left for dead in drafts. Like on FFPC, he has some ADP, but in best ball, he's like, I mean, he went pick 195 in this stream draft today. I took Mostert at 167, one of my few Mostert shares. How are you viewing the Miami backfield? They could still bring in Fournette, I guess.
Although
seems unlikely.
Yeah, and they just drafted A-Chain, and like he seems like he was kind of a part of the plans, although he's like 5th on the depth chart for the preseason stuff, but I'm not really worried about that. He's an end of season play. He's a rookie. I don't know. I guess I don't know that I want to move these guys up a ton. I moved Jeff Wilson up a little bit, but not a ton. I moved Mostert up a little bit before this because it seemed less likely.
Do you view Mostert as a clear tier ahead of Wilson?
I'm starting to, just because he seems like he's more locked into an early season role, which I know they kind of rotated them last year. I don't know. I would say a tier, but I definitely before I was sort of like, this is the same guy. Why am I taking Mostert ahead? And now I'm
just wait till 2025, Jacob. Zeke will still be in the ether.
Yeah. Now I'm down to take Mostert. He just feels like a stronger bet than Wilson to me. But
who do you think gets the goal line work between Mostert and Wilson?
I mean, Wilson's a bit bigger, so he might be the answer there.
That's kind of how I viewed it, but I think Mostert runs ahead of him in camp. And I mean, I don't know. Like, are you worried about? I think a chain is a very fragile pick, which you could say a thing about a lot of running backs in this range, where they have major upside, they have big or like very, very, very low floors, like literally not playing type of floor for a chain. I think if at worst he's like third down back getting 5 targets a game, that's fine. Even if he's not, 5 carries, 5 targets a game, that's okay with me. Are you worried that it could be lower than that? I don't really I view Mike McDaniel kind of like a Daigle, where it's like he's drafting a guy he envisions a role for in his offense. Are you worried though?
I mean, you just got to know what what you're getting, right? Like, he doesn't profile at all at this point as someone who's going to help you out early in the season. And I think the market maybe is a little bit overly bullish for that part of it. Oh, nice. Jacob's coming on. Love it. And so I've been behind market on him, but partly it's because I want to be putting him in rooms where I can, bet on him to come on down the stretch. And he's a smaller back. How much of a role does he even have? So yeah, I'm a little bit behind ADP now, but only by 4 spots. Nothing crazy. 3 spots behind ADP on A-Chain. He's an end of season upside swing. That's, I think he definitely fits that pretty well.
Jacob, we sent you the link if you want to pound the table for Wilson. Which, I mean, I think this is my first share of Mostert all season. Where I just finally was like, okay, if he's still running ahead in camp, so be it. I have a lot more Wilson. I have some a chain. I really thought Dalvin wanted to be a Dolphin. Tax reasons, you don't have sales tax in Florida, part of the reason I live here. And just like Dalvin's family grew up there, but clearly the Jets paid him more money. Let's talk about Fournette for a second here, which are you viewing it negatively, Fournette? I mean, it's kind of weird that like Zeke and Dalvin Cook sign within an hour. Like, I don't think that's a coincidence. Do you?
No, I think maybe Cook was
Income tax, Andrew. My bad. Sorry, Pat, go ahead.
No, I think I actually, like I said, I waited on the Mostert share partly because I was like, well, now did I put that in? I don't even know. Now maybe Jacob will talk me into Wilson there, but yeah, I didn't put in the pick because I was like, well, shit, maybe Cook's about to sign now too. Just seems like with some of these deals, I mean, they look at the deals and they know what the deals are and they can try to use that to negotiate something. So it just kind of made sense that they would drop quickly.
Fournette has had a history of showing up out of weight to training camp. He tried out with the Patriots along with guys like Darrell Henderson and Zeke. I don't think it's impossible Fournette showed up out of weight. I don't know.
Come on. You can't be speculating that maybe Fournette was fat at a workout.
You don't just speculate
any evidence of that.
You don't just speculate that he's fat because it's Fournette. You speculate because he has a history of doing that. You know,
but he worked out for the Patriots. Presumably, he got himself in shape enough for that workout.
Or maybe we didn't hear reports. That's what I'm saying.
Fournette
Maybe that's the last we hear of the guy. You know, Jacob, what's going on, man? Thanks for jumping on here. Jacob, you're on mute.
No,
still on mute. While Jacob figures that out, I don't know. I personally viewed
you can hear me now?
Fournette versus Zeke. Like Fournette has a lot more upside, but Fournette, I could see being done. You know,
all
which
these
is
guys look done.
Doesn't get another shot done.
Is this yes? Can you hear me now?
Jacob, you're in there. What's going on?
Sweet. Going good. It's 1 a.m. in Galway, Ireland. I just got back from the pub. I saw the Dalvin Cook signing and immediately made a side bet on Zeke on Twitter. And then I saw your stream and I was like, yeah, I got to go and get in the chat here and see what the Zeke boys are doing, how they're thinking as Dalvin. And so life's good right now.
Love it.
So Jacob visiting my forefathers and Pat's, both Irish descent. Love to hear that. First off, how is Ireland? Second off, talk to us how you view Ramondre and Zeke, Dalvin and Brees, Fournette, Miami guys. How are you seeing it, Jacob?
Well, I view Zeke unfavorably at all times. But in all honesty, it's like a really great spot for him individually. My take on the Ramondre stuff has just been they're going to use running backs a ton. It's the worst receiver room in the NFL, or second worst of the Panthers. That they're in a competition of their own over there. So to me, there's going to be a lot of surplus running back touches. They're going to have to throw the back. They're going to have to run more than they probably should. So I wound up having pretty easily, I think, over 100 running back touches to non-Ramondre backs in my projections.
Oh shit! Evan Silva making his premiere on the show. Sorry, Jacob. Evan,
what's up, guys?
I'm finally getting up stage by the big dog.
No, this is Liam Murphy's channel.
Close enough, Evan. Right. Great to meet you, man.
What's up, dude? You guys are. I've never talked to you, but I know who you guys are. What's up?
What's up, man? We just want to hear how excited you are to not have any Brees Hall.
We're talking through the running back fallout. We noticed that you came out punching at Brees. Seemed to be a big Dalvin Cook guy. How are you viewing those situations?
Now, when we say you seem to be a Dalvin Cook guy, we haven't been paying attention to your ranks. We're just judging that based off your internet.
Yeah.
and also this tweet of yours about the Brees faders or the Brees drafters getting punished.
Yeah. No, they got cooked. It was like a pun, bro. So,
come on, man.
But I was surprised that there was a lot of excitement about Brees Hall in some circles, And you know, I mean, a running back coming off an ACL when they had you know, been linked to Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamal Williams, and they drafted Abinaconda. You know, just I mean, this like you got to be able to put together the signs. You know, I mean, you got to read the tea leaves, dog. You know, and I mean, it's okay. You know, I mean, we all make mistakes, but you know, some of us make less than others.
Now, when you're
You know, I'm messing around. I'm messing
I
around.
love
Like
you, man.
Pat Kerrane,
That
like
was
literally,
amazing.
Pat Kerrane literally like won $1 million last year, and I
2
like
million.
Multiple, $2 million.
You won 2 million. I mean, are you serious, dude? That's sick.
About to
dude.
do it
Hey,
again
I'm
with
so
Brees,
happy
dude.
for you.
Thanks, man.
Well, I think that at the end of the day, like Brees is still going to be really useful probably down the stretch. It's just I'm worried that he's going to have like non-startable weeks to begin
sure.
the year, and you don't want a dude who has non-startable weeks when you're drafting him in the second, third, early fourth round. You know.
Where would you
Do
be
you
taking
think
Brees
the
Hall
market's
right
going to drop Brees pretty stiffly in fantasy football land?
That's a really good question. I'm driving home from dinner right now. I'm gonna go update my rankings. I don't know. I guess I'll have a better feel for it then. I don't know. Have you guys updated your stuff?
We're kind of talking through it right
I
now.
did a full update of all my
Okay.
rankings this morning, which was really poorly timed. And yeah, I think I'll move him like, I don't know, early fourth for me, which I think will be way ahead of market because he was basically
That's where I'm
going
gonna have
early
him
fourth
too.
when
I'm gonna have him early.
like
fourth,
people
Wow.
thought he
Okay.
might sign there and people were taking him early fourth. So now that he is signing there, I assume I'll get him every single draft in the early fourth if I want.
And
Where
we're
are you,
primarily best ball, so like we don't have to guess when the spikes will happen.
These
just
are
that
best
they're
ball
usually
rankings.
late.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you guys gonna have Dalvin?
I mean, I
Like
think
in the
he's like
11th.
undraftable if he gets into this 7th, 8th, 6th, 7th, 8th round.
Really?
I can't
mean,
move him ahead
I
of
think
like
he should go
Rashad White
down.
and gang.
I think he should go down because this was a bad landing spot for him, in my opinion. Like to me, the appeal of drafting him in the 9th or 10th was that he might go to Miami. Like this is clearly worse than Miami.
I had him at 97. I moved him down to 103.
Interesting.
I had him
Okay.
at. Let's see. I had him. Oh wow, Pat. I had him at 97. I had him at 97, and he'll be. I don't know. Like, would you rather have Dalvin or Khalil Herbert?
Yeah, let's throw out some names. Herbert.
That's
Herbert
right. That's
for
where
me.
I put him one spot
Herbert
behind
for me.
Herbert. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're good
Charbonnet
here.
or Dalvin
Okay.
Cook, Evan?
Charbonnet.
I'm Charbonnet.
Dalvin for sure.
Well, let's Evan. Where? Because you're, I think, on a different page maybe than what we just said.
Yeah.
Where would you be drafting?
We are. Yeah. I think I have him right around 100 right now, and
I
I think
mean,
we lost
I don't
Evan's
know.
internet. Jacob's camera is losing. Just awesome tech on this show right now. Evan, you dropped out, man.
Yeah,
where
I
do
don't
you
know. I'm
where,
in my
where do you
car,
think you
so-
got Dalvin going?
I'm in my car, so
You can
don't
drop
know,
out
I
and
don't
drive
know
if you
about-
need to. Don't worry, this channel is pretty free flowing. We're doing a 24-hour stream. We'll see
All
you
right,
in
well,
6.
I mean, I don't know. I'll be home in like 10 minutes. I mean, I could call back in, but I don't know if you can even hear me. So
yeah, we can hear you
We
now.
can call back in. Call back in if you'd like.
all right, I'll call you back in like 10 minutes.
All right, see you then.
All right, bye.
You guys just never know what you're going to get on this channel. All right, Jacob, sorry. We cut you off.
No, that
I
was-
could tell by
I-
Evan's
I will-
internet we
I
weren't going to
can-
get a lot of him.
I can very fairly get upstaged by Evan Silva at any moment. Like that's entirely reasonable.
Jacob, what were we talking about before we had the
Well,
guest?
we were talking originally about the Pats guys, and then we moved into the Jets. I mean, the Jets are probably more interesting. Like the way I look at the Pats is that I think Ramondre is mostly the same, and then all the work that I had for Pierre Strong / Kevin Harris / and I probably don't change much else. Like maybe he's more of a threat at the goal line. I also just think with Zeke, like he's probably going to play. He's probably going to suck, and then he might get less work. Like, so I'm just not super worried about it.
Talk about what you think the market's going to do. I'm going to share my screen.
The market's going to not like this because I mean, the market, like we've been talking about whether things are priced in, and I think the DeAndre Hopkins reaction like told us very clearly that like the market has no idea how to handle uncertainty still. Like maybe it's gotten better, but it's still really bad. Like DeAndre Hopkins went to probably the stone worst landing spot, and he went up in ADP because like I guess people thought he would just be a free agent. Like I don't know. So I think Dalvin Cook will see a similar thing where like I was even taking Dalvin Cook despite being pretty out on him talent wise, just because like it seemed like it was a free roll that he would go to Miami. And if he went to anywhere else, you're probably still getting good CLV. So I think Dalvin will go in like the 8th because it's a high variance spot, right? Like all you need is one person in every draft room to be like, no, Dalvin's the starter, right? I mean, you see on Twitter, like I understand in our bubble, most of the people in our bubble are either like this slightly hurts Brees or this doesn't hurt Brees or Dalvin sucks or whatever. Like you go into like, fantasy analysts that work for a website that offers fantasy gaming, right? We're talking like the Yahoo world, the CBS world, the ESPN world. Like I'm seeing Brees Hall ranked at like RB27, RB28. Like there's some takes out there. People are saying Dalvin Cook could be an RB1. Like there's going to be more optimism for Cook and Brees, especially as we're into August and those people start showing up into our sites.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this hurt Cook, but he will move up. So
yeah,
and I didn't personally draft a ton of Cook. I got a couple high stakes shares as like a hedge against this position that I feel pretty strongly about, which is that he doesn't really.
Yeah, I have a Dalvin Cook. I have a Dalvin Cook in a high stakes draft against you at pick 118, which that was where I thought he was an appropriate selection.
Yeah. But
I was taking him in the 120s only. I was siding with the young guys over him, where it's like, whatever, I'll just gamble on Gibson and Brian Robinson. Someone's going to be the one, or more so the one there. Like the Penny and Swift, I think they're very fragile, but like the league winning potential still there. And I'm not ready to like truly abandon priors because of one preseason game, especially when the coach says like literally what I thought they were going to do. And so
is this where everyone's at with Penny? Like I think I was lower on Penny than most people before.
No, I'm definitely
before.
I'm more nervous about Penny. I mean, you have the issue of him kind of playing for a while, right? It's not that he's not just resting when they rested Gainwell.
I didn't care about playing for a while. That doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, and then there's been reports the entire training camp like, I don't know how safe this dude is, So it's
I just fired the link off to a couple people. We're getting Daigle's opinions now. Daigle, what's going on?
It's like the ship chasing draft stream all over again.
I'm actually updating Jets team preview as we speak, so I figured I could hop in really quick and talk about it. It's just fucking annoying, honestly. It's just annoying. Like it's literally just a 1 year thing. And then when you try to understand what everyone's talking about, now everyone is questioning where to draft Brees Hall. But try to bring him back. Like, look at everyone around him. You can't draft like Miles Sanders over Brees Hall. That's wild, especially in best ball when we're trying to project for beyond week 6. Like, Brees Hall is the kind of player who wins the best ball millionaire. So I just can't do it. Like, I bumped him down a tier, but there's no way. And redraft, I understand. Like, if you want to go, it's not fun. If you want to go Najee Harris, who else is right there?
Oh, my God. No, not Najee Harris.
I know it's not fun, but like Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, like if you want the touches, like whatever. I think ultimately,
not Miles Sanders.
I mean, he's
Jacob's in Ireland, Daigle. This is a lot for him to hear right now.
Well, at the end of the day, though, I think what it is, it just tells you to draft receivers in redraft instead of running backs. But in best ball, you just can't do it. You have to still draft Brees Hall among that tier of players. You have to.
Davis on the phone.
I thought I was going to look sketchy coming in from an apartment in Ireland, but Davis looks like he just got out of a dorm, like playing Halo for 14 hours.
Davis, where's the mustache, man?
I shaved it. I shaved it off. I got to the facial hair. The facial hair. I gotta press the reset button. I just came on to say that the slappiest thing any person could ever do is want to draft Dalvin Cook after this. Like if your immediate reaction to Dalvin Cook signing to share backfield with Brees Hall is I gotta log on to underdog.com and draft Dalvin Cook, you are slappy. You are slappy defined.
Cook ran the third most routes among all running backs last year and still finished 21st among all running backs in targets per game. Like, he can't earn targets. And they even just said he's not even at camp. Like, he has a week left in healing from the same shoulder injury that limited him last year.
Brees might practice before Cook does.
The Jets have the second toughest schedule.
He's having a kid this week, too. He's not even going to practice with the team before the season. This is Randall Cobb. He's Mercedes Lewis. Dalvin Cook is Mercedes Lewis. That's what it is.
Davis, you're a guy who seems to know who Aaron Rodgers does and doesn't like. Who do you think he's going to like in that running back room? Don't you think that he talked to Dalvin and like thinks fondly on those Vikings Packers battles?
Literally yes. Literally yes. Like it's like when, as you guys know this, you're all getting older in life. Like when you get older, you just want to remember how things were when you were like 24, you know? And that is what this is. This is like Dalvin Cook was really good when I was 20, I guess for Rodgers, he was like 31 and the Packers were good. It's just vibes. It's vibes-based teammates.
That's Beckham this year too. It's just drafting on nostalgia is all we're doing.
So Daigle, where do you think the market's what do you think the market's going to do to the Miami guys, Ramondre and Brees? How far are Ramondre and Brees falling for you? Are the Miami guys moving up at all?
Ramondre
is Fournette left for dead, or like is he still in the ether?
There's still outs for Fournette. Ramondre is still top 10 for me. How much CLV do you think you legitimately got on Zeke? Like, because it's still.
I don't want it. I have zero Zeke.
You get a lot of CLV, but
rounds.
CLV. You know who else you got a lot of CLV on? Julio Jones.
Yeah, he's Julio.
Yeah.
He's Julio.
I say this as someone without like Zeke. Like, I'm so underweight on Zeke, and I understood the argument, but I didn't think the CLV mattered at all. Like, I dare 18th round Zeke to beat me. Like, I fucking dare him to do anything.
Like I have 17% Fournette because I actually want Fournette on my teams if it pays off. Like he actually catches passes. Like I can see it being interesting.
Yeah.
I think
I have by
always
far the
thought
most
Zeke,
Fournette.
Like I thought Zeke.
Jacob, didn't you say Fournette was 50-50 to not be signed by week 1?
I agree. I think he's both 50-50 to not be signed by week 1, and I'm happily at 17% because like he catches passes. Like Latavius. If you could have taken 17% Latavius Murray in the last round last year, you would have been very happy to do so. And he arrived in Denver in like week 6.
By the way, have y'all discussed the Jets opening schedule for this like little pad that Dalvin Cook's going to play?
Let's pull it up. They got the Bills.
I can tell you what it is.
Theoretically going to play. The Dalvin Cook is theoretically.
Dalvin Cook is theoretically.
I want this on the record.
Dalvin Cook is theoretically before the Jets bye going to open against the Bills, the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Eagles. Like, good luck, buddy. Have fun.
Yeah, tough. I mean, and that could be the theory is that they just want to waste Dalvin Cook for these games. That I mean, they could legitimately open up 1-3, and then it's the Brees show against the Broncos, and the Giants, the Chargers, the Raiders. But like,
and
Bills,
like,
Cowboys,
like,
Chiefs.
Aaron Rodgers is paying for it anyways with his pay cuts. So what do we care?
Daigle, you were talking about the CLV on Zeke. I just went to check my Zeke exposure on Underdog, and it's low. It's 4%. But I was like, 4%. And then I saw the dollar amount, and I was like, that seems a little high. And then I recalled that I do have one Zeke share in the Dalmatian, drafted during the ship chasing draft at pick 214. So there's our CLV right there.
Daigle, I can tell you, I did a Best Ball Mania 4 draft, and Zeke went in the 11th. Which is absurd.
I mean,
what do you get at
the first text I got,
the 11th?
What is
the first
Ezekiel
text I
Elliott
got
do
from
for
a
this
dear
team?
friend, from a dear friend who I consider smart at best ball. First text I get is, why was Zeke ever going before, or why was Zeke ever going after Jalen Warren? Like that was the first reaction.
Oh my god!
Oh, man,
I heard
okay.
normies at the bar talking about Zeke too. They're like, "Oh, Zeke's a Patriot now," and like the normie crowd's gonna steam Zeke up.
I kept Zeke around RB 52, 53. Like I literally just kept him buried back there. He doesn't matter.
Yeah, I brought him up a little.
I brought him up, but I had.
What is the earliest pick? What is the earliest pick Ezekiel Elliott is going to go at in the FFPC main event? Setting the line at 85th overall.
I'm taking the under. I want earlier than 85th overall, and
yeah, I think
I'm willing to lay some pretty serious money on it.
6th round for sure.
I mean, to be fair, this is a format that once made Darwin Thompson and Justice Hill 6th round picks. So like
Yeah.
it's a little different, but the slappies fucking love it, man. They love
Evan,
it.
welcome back, man.
Look at these guys. Wow.
We got
This
Davis
guy.
and Daigle on here too.
Some old friends. Some old friends.
We love it.
Yo, what happened to your camera? Why do you use your phone to log in now? I noticed this the other day. How do you get worse?
It's a
at
long
this?
story.
You've been doing it for
Daigle,
like
can you
18
go over and help
years.
Silva with his internet, please?
Hey, listen.
Evan.
So I've thought more about this. I think you guys are having take lock on
Those days are
baseball.
done.
All right, we're having take lock.
That's possible. Talk to us about it.
I mean, dude, like in a best case scenario, he's going to be, a committee back on a team that isn't going to have to score many points because their defense is going to be awesome. So, look, I really like him as a player, and they have every incentive to really ease him in. I mean, they've also got Michael
Silva
Porter.
is right.
They've also got Zonovan
Silva
Knight.
is right.
You guys are having take clock. You can't have him as a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
Where would you take him?
You're right.
I mean, look, dude, I don't hate Breece Hall or anything. I mean, I've had to fade on him, but I mean, you guys, they're throwing all these signals at you. They're throwing all these signals at. They flirted with Jahmyr Gibbs. They flirted with Jamal Williams. They just signed Dalvin Cook to one of the richest RB contracts in the NFL. They drafted.
We'll see how
well,
it's
we don't
treated,
know
but I
if
mean,
it's like
wouldn't this be
making-
pretty
Yeah.
incentive laden?
Evan, let me give you some running back names, and you say
7
Brees
million,
or this name.
7 million base, Kerrane.
Oh wow.
7 million base for Dalvin.
Evan, Ken Walker or Brees Hall?
I mean, not even close.
Joe
Brees Hall
Mixon
for me.
or Brees Hall?
I agree that it's not even.
I think that's starting to get interesting.
I mean, Joe Mixon's got legit legal problems. Alexander Madison or Brees Hall?
Madison,
Established
Aaron
run,
Jones,
loved
Aaron
Alexander
Jones or Brees
Madison.
Hall?
Aaron Jones.
Miles Sanders or Brees Hall?
No, not Aaron Jones.
We're starting to get a little interesting now.
I mean, the next names off the running back list are guys like Damian Pierce, DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins.
I'd take Pierce over. Well, it's not all right. Well, I mean, now we're talking.
I like Pierce a lot. I think Pierce could smash.
Yeah, now we're talking.
So
I can be convinced to take the wide receivers, but man, that list of running backs, there's no way.
You can talk me into J.K. Dobbins, but none of the rest of these guys.
in best
But
ball,
I'm on my
when we're
J.K.
playing
Dobbins
beyond the
island.
first month, like there's no way. I don't think that's take lock. I keep coming back to it.
the injured running back so much. Oh, I have a story for you, by the way.
Hit us with the story.
Dobbins isn't actually injured. He's injured with I wanted a contract and I didn't get it, so now I'm practicing.
Maybe. I mean, he was running around on one leg. He's been on. He just started. They just cleared him.
Jacob, I think Dobbins might be a slappy play. I hate to do it to you, but he's got some real slappy vibes.
Wait, let's hear the story.
That's fine. I will probably do Dobbins slappy.
It's because in your guys' spreadsheets, there's no input for injury. So blind spot.
I'm not a spreadsheet guy.
Liam is vibes only, so he gets it. Liam gets it. He's like, the vibes are not good for Brees. Like,
Admittedly,
Liam,
J.K. Dobbins vibes are horrible.
I like Liam.
I'm a Brees guy though. Like I think the
Liam, are you looking? You want a job? You need a job?
depending how this best ball season goes, maybe.
I kept Ramondre top 10. Like I kept him like a mid 3rd round player. Where'd you move him to?
I'm not
I
dropping.
moved to the early 4th as well.
I don't think
I didn't move him that far.
Yeah, okay.
I
fair.
moved him
Completely fair.
to 32 RB 11.
Cool.
I'm taking him probably over. I mean, ETN and him, I think, is a mix, and I'm always Ramondre over Najee.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Ramondre
Oh,
behind
yeah.
Gibbs but over ETN, and I mean Najee Harris doesn't exist in my world.
not true. You were 40 spots higher than Kerrane and I in Dynasty on Najee, so
That-
he
that
does
is
exist
true.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Save that for the
That is
mailbag, which
true.
I'm sure gets thousands
Yeah,
of
that
dynasty
was
versions.
Yeah,
the
we
one
do need the
podcast
Silva
series
story.
ever where I've been paying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Evan,
we
here's
need
the
a
story, man.
All right. So I'll just tell you the story, and then I have to go update my rankings.
Yeah, I gotta do shit.
So yesterday, me and Ben Gretch were doing a draft, and I think we were like, I think we had number 10 overall. It was FFPC, in season managed. It's a main event, and like, dude, first of all, we're like at each other's throats, like from the outset of the fucking draft. Like we're disagreeing on everything. We get to I think the top of the fourth, and Breece Hall is there, and he is just like vehement. We have to take Breece Hall, and we were fighting. I thought I was going to lose a friend over this.
I'm sending Gretch the link. Sorry, Evan, keep going.
He was like literally trying to collect the injured running backs, and I could not. I mean, I think we were cussing. I had to like go take a walk around the block. I mean, it was really bad.
So what happened?
Well, we wound up making. I mean, I've been friends with Ben Gretch for 8 years at this point, and we had a phone conversation today, but we had to like both apologize to each other. And like, we were fighting until like literally like round 18. He wanted to take the Chiefs defense. And I was like, the Chiefs defense fucking blows, right?
So you guys are just quiet the whole time and then let it out in the 18th round?
It's just it got bad. We literally had to like I got a little misty today. I was like, Gretch, I've known you for 8 years, and like I'm sorry,
I love a man who wears his passion. Who did you guys take in the fourth though?
Yeah, who did you take?
We took fucking Breece Hall.
No, Silva. I'm really glad to hear that you and Gretch like patch things up and you guys are still friends. But do you regret not saving that call for later in the day?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Take that sweet.
Will there be another phone call tomorrow?
I'm sure he'll have a funny point of view on it too. I mean, everything's good, but like we like literally had to patch things up. I mean,
it was just a real quiet 5th, 6th, 7th round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know how it is, dude. It's ups and downs of a draft, dude. So.
I drafted with Davis in the main event. I know what it's like.
Liam and I just did one the other day.
That was the best podcast I've ever listened to in my entire life.
They were really good.
Yeah.
Davis doesn't like that I reminded him that he made me take Albert O over Miles Sanders, so he just came in with the viewpoint of like, I'm just disagreeing.
That's also the same team and format, Silva, where I drunk texted you walking home from the bar around this time last year and told you that team sucked, and y'all got like top 15 in the main event.
I know. Oh,
that
God.
fucking team.
I know. I will never let you live that down. All right. Hey, dude, thanks so much for inviting me. I got to go update the ranks.
All right. We'll rip a best ball sometimes, Evan. Enjoy.
All right,
thanks for coming on.
That's a man who can't wait to fucking take Ezekiel Elliott to the main event. Let me tell you. I'm drafting with him. I'm doing a main with him in 2 weeks, and we got into a knockdown drag out once about Terry McLaurin. Like I just did not want Terry McLaurin on my team, and he and Reeves overruled me, and they won because I wanted Jerry Jeudy. So they've been lording that over me for 2 years.
You know what I was thinking about, Davis, the other day? And like you had some good calls. I don't mean to bring this one up, but like remember at this time last year that Sammy Watkins was a real argument happening? Like that's how far we are removed
Sammy
from
Watkins.
the universe.
Oh man.
Sammy Watkins
who is
Packers.
This year's Sammy
I
Watkins?
forgot about Sammy Watkins.
I don't really draft.
That's how many things happen.
I don't have any vet dust bags this year. It's all It's like rookies who might not play.
I have a lot of
Those are my
Devontae
bags.
Parker.
Well, I think the market's gotten sharper in that way. Like,
Yeah, I have
like guys like Mingo and guys like
the only guy.
How much Parker do you have?
I said it once. I don't know if I want to say that again. Yeah, I have 16%.
I have a lot of.
Hey,
I'm a 0% Devontae Parker stand.
Devontae Parker.
I'm not with this gang that doesn't feel like gambling on zeros. Like gamble on an RB2 for once in your life. Live a little,
Yeah,
Hey,
I have
Kerrane
15% Parker.
Crane won $2 million
go.
with Will Fuller as his
go,
most
man.
drafted player, so anything is possible.
We're my most drafted receiver. I believe,
I won it with Ronald Jones as one of my most drafted. So I guess you can have big zeros. Daigle and Davis, how are you viewing the Miami running backs now that Dalvin?
I mean,
in your mind?
All of
I
them.
like them all anyways, but my guess is that this, I guess I didn't watch it, but I guess a chain was like playing behind Myles Gaskin or something. So my guess is I probably end up drafting a ton of him. If like I can get like running back 42 Devin a chain, I'll probably just have a lot of him.
Here's my big pushback on the A-Change thing. Like people are upset that he entered the game late. I personally don't care. I don't care about when rookies enter in the first preseason game. It's a load of hooey. The most important thing to me was like he has been, I think, really, really underrated as a rusher, but overrated as a receiver coming out of Texas A&M. He was usually used on swing pass and screen passes. To see him all of a sudden used on those angle routes, like immediately as soon as he comes in the game, gets a designed angle route. To me, that's an obvious what we want to do if teams are pressing our wide receivers. We're in facing man coverage. We get to isolate this guy. Like the way that they used him and the way that they created plays for him in the passing game, that was really interesting for me. So I don't think that's how you treat a guy if you're just like doing whatever. To me, they have a plan for him. I think he's going to ascend the depth chart, and I'm really in on A-Chain. And the only thing that's been holding me back from being like super exposed to him was Dalvin fear. And now I'm gonna just probably hammer the shit out of him if he doesn't.
But they're like they're all good bets if they don't move too much now, right?
Totally agree. Jeff Wilson's one of my most drafted. I haven't.
Do you think Fournette is a concern there at all?
Fine now. He does not fit that like team.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
Like if Fournette signs there, he would quickly be terrible, I think.
Like,
yeah, I think a change.
Corporate needs you to find the difference between the two pictures, and it's Jeff Wilson Jr. and Leonard Fournette. They're like the same guy. So, like, what's the use?
I think a change role was going to be safe even if Dalvin signed. Like, probably going to play passing downs, going to get a bunch of short screens, right? Like, I agree that McDaniel has a plan for him, and it's not zero. Daigle, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it sounds like Mostert has been the one being used as a third down option at a camp. So I got higher, I would say, in the past couple of weeks on Mostert over Wilson. But also, do you know how many of those swing passes happen on third down, Jacob? Because like A-Chain still finished second in the nation behind Bijan for the second most third down targets among all running backs. Like he actually earned that ability to catch passes on that particular down. So I've always been slightly higher on him as a pass catcher anyways.
I think he's a good pass catcher. It's just a lot of his stuff was either lateral or straight lines. Like I didn't think that he was a refined route runner coming out of college. In like my most recent article, like I posted like I caught up some of him when I was able to find him running more dynamic routes, and he was, I thought, kind of sloppy, but he looked really clean in that in the one that he had in that preseason game. He's like definitely has good hands, and he's great in space, and obviously you want to get this ball into his hands quickly with his speed. So that excited me. I don't know if he'll get third down work just because he's so tiny. Like I don't know if they want him in pass pro. But one note is that you do have both Mostert and Wilson were in the top 10 running backs last year in Miami in terms of when they were on the field in a drop back, the percentage of the time that running back was then out in a route. So to me, that's a bullish signal. If you're looking for a 190-pound back to play passing down,
well, that's Reeves.
You want a team that's
right?
prioritizing being in a route versus being a pass blocker, which is they're a team that wants the running backs out in routes.
Jacob, who's going to play goal line? Everyone say who's the goal line back between Mostert and Wilson.
Jeff Wilson out-carried Mostert 8-3 inside the 10-yard line after he joined the team last year.
Then I think Jeff Wilson is the game theory play, where if you're trying to like find leverage off of Tyreek and Waddle, your play is they get pushed out inside the 5-yard line, and Jeff Wilson steals the touchdowns from that offense.
Well, if Devin Achane scores 3 50-yard touchdowns in Week 17, Achane is the game theory play because he nullifies, he just ends drives that way for Waddle and Tyreek.
Right, that is. I like that.
I'm on the clock right now and have the decision between Mostert and Wilson. What would you guys do?
Wilson.
You all take Wilson?
I would side with the ADP and take Mostert just because I personally don't have any Mostert, but I like Wilson more.
Yeah, I would probably take Mostert today because I'd feel bad about being underweight Mostert. But like
Mostert is more of a substitute good for Achane though. Like of the two guys, the guy who's more like for like to be replaced by Achane is Mostert.
Right. Davis, have you considered
that's how I feel too.
Runs for 3 50-yard touchdowns in Week 17. That will put J.K. Dobbins directly back onto the field to go and run.
No. That is the Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, Lamar Jackson. You know, because you never can get Lamar Jackson and Andrews on the 3-4 turns, so you always take round 18 Likely just to be nice and cozy. That's the Lamar Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, Devin Achane correlation. I mean, there's got to be 10,000 of those teams in Best Ball Mania 4, so you better hope that not too many of them get to the final.
If with how many fucking Baltimore Ravens I have drafted this year, if Isaiah Likely, Odell Beckham, Lamar is the
I was gonna say if Odell Beckham
will
is
give
the
up Best
one
Ball for life.
ripping them off, we're all gonna
I thought we were done talking about 30-plus-year-old running backs after like Latavius Murray buried people in BBM2, but I mean Mostert is a legit name, and Latavius Murray is back. 2 years later.
Yeah, Ben Gretch does not want to hear it.
I'm not ready to bury Damian Harris. I'm more with Gretch there, where like I'm going to be the person drafting Damian Harris in the 140s and the 130s because he's just not been practicing. He's 26. He is much better than Devin Singletary, and like it's not like Devin Singletary was electric with the ball in his hands when he caught a pass. He was just on the field and in the flat, and literally has like 4.9 40 speed.
He was just losing third down work to Daria Ogunbowale this weekend, so like things are looking up for Devin Singletary.
All right, I gotta jump off and start updating everything as well. If y'all are around Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, Coakley and I are gonna jump in a big dog draft and stream it. So if you want to help fill that room, mark it on your calendar. Anyone listening as well, Wednesday 6 p.m. Eastern, let's get a live stream big dog going.
It could fill before then.
It could fill before that.
It's a 70%.
Ripping, dude.
Dude, you fucking sickos! I swear to God, just take a moment and
know,
go outside.
I thought we were
I'm outside. I'm outside right now, Daigle, and I'm still drafting. I did 3.
You're the sickest of all of us.
You're drafting right now, dude. You're on a fucking stream. Will you pick something?
I'm playing fetch. I'm playing fetch with my dog, and drafting and streaming with you guys.
How many fucking activities do you need at once?
92.5%. Oh my! It was at 70% this morning.
Davis has got another phone. He's trading stocks.
It sounds like we may need to
You
go.
gonna burn your phone, Davis, to draft?
No,
we may need to go to a. We made it to go to a DK 555. What if we switch?
This
to a
is absurd.
How
should we draft a big dog together and split it?
I'm not hanging around. I got my own drafts to do.
Well, you could have some equity in the team. I'll float us on a big dog.
Big dog slows. That's crazy, man.
Liam,
I didn't get a max the Pitbull. I only got in 7 of the 10.
Wow, not working hard enough. Not the
anyone max the big dog? It would have been hard to max the big dog unless you just cranked out all the slows.
You would have had to do it quickly.
I did like 7.
In that case, we may need to get everyone to fill a 555.
We're getting some info here. Brees at 5.4. 5.4.
That feels so good because then it's like Chris Godwin, TJ Hawkinson, or Brees Hall. Like, just give me Brees Hall.
Yeah, I mean those people listen
to.
If
you click Deontay Johnson over Brees Hall, you're committing to a lifetime without sex at that point.
Hey, eighth in the NFL in targets last year, Jacob. Don't ask how many touchdowns he scored.
Davis. I choose Deontay over sex every time I open a draft, but I'm not doing it over Brees Hall.
Well, it feels bad for me who's buying Brees at 3.4 if this isn't just like a snapshot reaction. If Brees is legitimately going to be available a full round later.
Here's the thing. Closing line value doesn't really matter that much. Like if Brees Hall is just really good, then you just wanted him anyways. And also, like you have to look at these guys on aggregate. Like with all these guys out there, someone was going to get spiked. And to me, like all the potential guys to get spiked were really interesting. So I think you just buy them all. You just know you're going to eat it somewhere, and you just hope that the guy wins.
We
anyway,
draft
right?
teams,
you just
not
draft the guy you think is going to win anyway.
Yeah, well, you know what, Davis, that's true. Okay, if someone said it hurts to see 5.4, if he goes, he will never ever get past 5.4. In a draft
if Kerrane's in a room.
and I am not hurt by that idea. I truly think that if the market, people are talking about ADP being better, if they let us get Brees Hall, a second round pick who was hyper efficient as a rookie coming off a clean ACL tear, who's now competing with a totally washed Dalvin Cook at 5.4, this market is soft as hell. We're going to make a lot of money this year.
The market is wrong in some ways.
We can still get Kenneth Gainwell in the double-digit rounds. The market is not as sharp as it could be.
Do we think there's any potential that the Jets got negative Brees news?
No.
Well,
This is
That's
because the
certainly
beats
possible.
are saying the opposite. No, the beats are saying the opposite. There are multiple beat writers reporting on the Dalvin Cook,
including Crack Rock.
including Crack, said this isn't worried about Brees. Brees is fine. Like, they said it without saying it, that this is kowtowing to Aaron Rodgers. Also, can we let Daigle promote his shit and sign off? This dude has been waiting.
Oh, Daigle, you just go.
I was actually waiting to see if we were actually going to rip a big dog. Is what I was doing.
Well, I mean,
Well,
there's
you
like 10 big dogs left to rip. So, I mean,
All right, let's do it, gang.
rip 'em.
All right, I'll close out a couple tabs. Everyone
Everyone send me $7.
Give me
You
45
have
minutes, and
equity
I'll have
in
everything ready. But you got to give me these 45 minutes.
All right, Chess, Liam. I will checkers Liam you $7 via Venmo, but I'm not hanging around this whole time.
You don't need to hang or Venmo me. I'll float the channel on a. I mean, just a legendary
Davis,
stream.
you
I texted Pat.
gotta stay for one pick to make sure.
For anyone who's
I'll
curious
stay for
how
one
the
pick.
sausage was made here, I texted
You
Pat.
gotta stay,
Like,
stay until Brees Hall goes off the board.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
will.
get
That's
one pick in.
I will stay until Brees goes. Then I'm coming in.
I
All right,
texted
you're
Pat and
committing
was
to
like,
45 minutes.
"Oh, the 101 boys."
That's all right. So 5-1 Brees Hall. Lock it in.
5-1 Brees Hall. Let's push it. Let's get that ADP
Wow,
lower.
can you imagine if we get 5-1 Brees?
Oh man.
I don't think we're gonna get it in a room that was filled with
Yeah, we're not
everyone
getting it
watching
this
our this stream, but
It's a lot of badges. That is
Yeah.
a lot of badges.
Believe it or not, if you want to get a specific target, the best way to get that target isn't to go on a stream with all of your YouTube followers. Say, let's rip a draft so we can draft this guy in the fifth.
Yeah,
and
but
then,
they all just listen. They all just listen to
launch.
Evan Silva. They all just listen to Evan Silva say he'd prefer Alexander Madison over him. So
can I interest you guys
Well,
in
I'll
some
tell you-
uniqueness at the 101?
That would be such a ridiculous move to make us all draft a big dog and then take
Brees
burn
Hall.
the money.
Alpha
no,
play.
but then all the people in Discord could get to say their favorite thing, which is this draft's gonna get thrown out. No one loves anything as much as best ball Discorders do.
I'm just gonna
screenshot
take Jefferson.
one
You all
bad
cool with
pick.
that? Thumbs
Yes.
up. All right. For anyone curious how the sausage was made on this stream, I texted Pat. Was like, "Hey, let's fire up a stream or do a Twitter space." He's like, "Sure, I'm free." And then I just started sending the link to Jakob. Was in the chat. Sent it to Daigle. Sent it to Davis. Pat sent it to Evan. Again, I can't DM him. He doesn't follow me. And now we're
That is
here.
a great bit.
That's
That is
amazing.
such
Davis,
good
you missed
content
it.
for
Like when
Evan.
Evan got on, it was so glorious. It was like, "Hey Pat, you two guys, I haven't seen a lot of you, but it seems like you do some good work."
Seems like you do good work.
He's like, "I've never talked to you guys before."
I've never felt more emasculated in my life.
My dog.
And I had
absolutely
18%
loved
Deontay Johnson last year.
He does. You know, and for as much as he jokingly makes fun of chip chasing, he watches all the drafts. Like I know he
he's
actually
addicted.
he
He's
puts them on the
addicted.
TV.
He's
like
a
he yells
draft
at
addict.
the
I
TV.
can tell that from Daigle.
Yeah. He loves watching the drafts. He
Congrats,
used to
Gretch.
do it
You
all
got a
the time.
share of this big dog.
Look at this.
Look at
Yeah.
this.
I just got this
Wow.
message from
Damn.
Liam.
Wow. Gang's all here.
Everyone now
What's
has
going on?
14% of a big dog.
What does it say about
We
us?
can't even see what we're doing now because we have so many people.
What does
I'll
it say
add
about
it-
us
I'll
that
add it in
everyone
a
is here?
second.
None of us were doing anything. We're all available at home. That's how
This is
sad
the
it
biggest dog.
I just got a message from Liam, and I went back to the part where Evan was talking. I just had to come on to say it was not nearly as dramatic as he made it sound.
I don't know, dude. He seemed to take it to heart.
Dude, there was a tear. There was definitely a tear there.
I mean, yeah, we argued over our picks a little bit, but we were like buddy the whole second half of the draft. Like we were fine. Like it was not a big deal.
He made it seem like you did not speak in the 5th, 6th, 7th.
I know he's like he did call me today, but he was like I had to call him and we had to apologize and stuff. Like no, we were just like man, we love each other. Like no big deal. Like it was totally fine.
We can't even see the board now. We have so many fucking people. in
I'm
this
going to
shit.
show it. I'm a professional here. Don't you worry.
Oh man, I just got out of the shower. You guys got enough cooks in this kitchen. I got a draft coming up, so I just want to come say hi. Later, guys.
Thanks for stopping in, Gretch.
And that's how Ben Gretch made $13,000 for 5 minutes on the stream.
He's out. No, he's out. He wasn't here for a pick. Sam, though, is here. Sam, thanks for joining in. How are you doing? We're
good.
talking to Fallouts. You're a host of ADP Chasing. I don't know. I think you guys do that weekly. So We'll be a while until you talk
That's
about
gonna be
Dalvin.
No,
well.
bad-
That's gonna be a faller. That's gonna be a faller.
Bad
It's a faller.
timing on
It's a faller.
Zeke and Dalvin. You know, it would have been nice to have this news last night, but yeah, we'll deal with it in a week. Man,
Let's get to our picks here, and then Sam, talk us through your snap reactions of the Jets backfield, the Patriots backfield, the Dolphins fallout. Is Fournette dead? He's still a free agent. We're on the clock here, boys. What do you want to do? We got all the quarterbacks. We got Calvin Ridley. We got T. Higgins. Mark Andrews is out there. I wouldn't hate going Andrews and Lamar for the uniqueness.
Mahomes Ridley.
Mahomes Ridley
is this a BBM? What tournament?
This is a big dog. $250.
Why wouldn't we?
You all got to
why wouldn't we
share.
go Mahomes T.
Wait.
I would rather go I cannot imagine going Mahomes over Hurts and Allen. It just seems stupid to me, but I would do
I
it.
cannot
Why
imagine.
Jefferson?
Liam can't imagine it.
I would be down to have the only share of Andrews, Lamar, and Jefferson because all those teams are paired with Tyreek.
Yes,
I kind of like Lamar, Andrews, Jefferson.
do it.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
And then if it
Sure.
happens, like that's when we're talking 4th, 5th round Brees with this pair.
Boom.
The only
Smart.
issue with it, because I've actually done this a decent amount, I do this in 555s occasionally, is they all have the same buy. It's the only bummer. Otherwise, it's very fun.
Then we backdoor Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
Isaiah Hodge, or Daniel Jones, Gary Slayton, Tutu Atwell. Easy game.
I also think it's better, right?
Wait,
Because
don't they also,
I think
they also
in-
have the same buy, don't they, Davis?
Everyone
Yes,
has a
they do.
bye week 13. No one's
Week
getting
13 is
points.
brutal.
I'm pretty sure the Giants because I always want to take Michael Mayer and I can never take him on Waller teams or any
Right.
teams.
Right.
Wait,
Take
aren't they
free
week
yourself,
11?
bro. Take the
Aren't they week
0
11?
week 13 at tight end.
No, I've taken the 0 a couple times, but it doesn't feel great.
All right, Sam, talk us through how you're
I need
seeing this
that
situation.
3.5 points for Michael Mayer.
So yeah, starting with the Patriots, I actually think this is like neutral to slight positive for Ramondre. Like I think we knew they were going to bring in somebody, and the fact that it's Zeke and not Dalvin or Fournette, like sure, Zeke probably projects to have like some short yardage and goal line role, and yes, he's like capable on passing downs and probably will mix in. I don't know. They'll probably rotate series like 2 for Ramondre, 1 for Zeke, him mixing in a little bit in other situations. But I think that was my base assumption is they were going to bring in someone to do that. And the fact that it's the least talented, in my opinion, of the free agent running backs, I think it's fine for Ramondre. I think the market's probably going to ding him for it because the market isn't really sensical with these type of things. But to me, like I think it's neutral.
When you say ding it, though, like how far can it go? Can it go past Ken Walker, Aaron Jones?
No,
I'm projecting like a ding, like in between Gibbs and Najee. I think that's what I would guess in terms of what the ADP will react to.
I put him right behind ETN.
I mean, I think the more important thing is it'll be the receivers. I think you'll start to see you'll just see more teams decide to click like Jerry Jeudy or Amari Cooper or Deebo Samuel ahead of Ramondre Stevenson. Like I think he'll become clearly the last. Well, Brees will fall even further, but like he'll never go above Gibbs. He will never go above Jacobs. I mean, and I think most of that is wrong. I agree with everything Sam said. I just think people view this concept.
Well, there we go.
as
We just
stealing
got
touches.
a Mike Williams, Jerry Jeudy. People are already. It might be a piss.
Jacob trying to coach our competition. Never saw Benedict Jacob entering the chat on us there.
So Pat, I'm curious. So you bumped him behind ETN. Is that just like now they're kind of similar bets in terms of like the share of touches, but ETN's just on the better team? Is that kind of how you're thinking of it, or curious?
I mean, they're right next to each other in rankings, so it's like splitting hairs, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but I mean,
I kept Ramondre ahead of ETN.
Our Ramondre goes the 3-4 turn in this one.
Gibbs goes ahead.
Goes after.
Goes ahead of Brees though.
Oh yeah, no Brees. I mean, Brees should fall. I mean, he has a legit chance of making it to us.
Brees should fall. I still
What
like.
do we have any contract? Sorry, I'm coming in kind of like just eating dinner. I wasn't really up to date on the Twitter timeline. Is there any contract details and like guaranteed money for these guys
Yeah,
yet?
it's a lot.
We don't have
of fucking money. It's
$6 million for
base.
Zeke, $9 million for Cook, which like we don't have full contract.
Those are guaranteed money.
We don't have the
$7
full
million,
contract.
$7 million base for Dalvin.
Wow.
With incentives.
Whoa.
Okay,
that
$7 million base.
All right. I'm leaving,
Evan
guys.
Silva, Davis, you're out of here.
I'm leaving. I got.
All right, enjoy your protein shots. I saw you ripping up a protein.
No, that's getting my pre-workout ready for the morning. I'm a psychopath that gets everything ready.
Davis,
in the
your
morning. I'll see
shares
you guys later.
are your share is now Sam's. Just kidding, you can have it.
Fair enough. Later, guys.
See you, Davis.
Later.
I mean, 7 million base for Cook is kind of honestly that kind of changes my opinion. I know, like, obviously money can't make a player better, but that means like they were probably bidding with Miami, right? Like they really wanted him if they went up that high. I don't know, man. That scares me a little bit on Brees, but yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Here'd be my pushback, and it was the same pushback that, like, we didn't get into it, but like, it's the same thing where Silva was talking about like all these signs and the signals. Like, I agree with that. Like, the signals definitely say like they wanted Cook. They like have some level of uncertainty about Brees. Like, totally agree. It's just the bet on Brees Hall was always like a really low floor bet. It always required him to be healthy. And like, if Brees Hall's healthy, he's just going to be way better than Dalvin Cook. And at that point, the money's already been spent. So it's like, if he's not like, if Brees Hall is not fully healthy, he's going to fail now. He would have failed anyway. If he is fully healthy, he's going to look a lot better than Dalvin Cook. And he's going to be a guy that you want to have on your team. And
real quick pause on Jacob's great points here, because we are about to be on the clock in 10 seconds. I'd be down to go JSN and Lockett here. I'd be down to go Ayuk. I got Ken Walker in the queue. How do you guys want to play it? Hawkinson's there. Aaron Jones is there.
I'd JS.
On to me.
JSN, getting a different combo of these Seattle guys, like all those teams from 5-6.
I'd be JSN and Deontay over JSN Lockett, but I'm fine with JSN.
This is the bring back matters less in this format. It's an 18 final. 8, not 18. So it's like
JSN's in there.
It's certainly what doesn't hurt, but I think the stacking is more important.
Deontay,
do you like the idea of Lockett and JSN from like a season long perspective stacked together like that? I'm not sure that's like
we do not have time to suss it fully out. 10 seconds. Yeah. Someone tell me a name here.
I'm good with Lockett.
I like Jason Lockett.
I'm Kirk.
No.
Oh, I would have so been Kirk. Oh, well, too bad.
Y'all want Kirk?
It's Lockett.
No,
Jacob, let's talk about Kirk, because we got some Kirk haters on the show who are worried about preseason week 1 not risking Christian Kirk's health blocking in literally the first preseason game because of Zay Jones. So the rumor, is Kirk could be slot only. I still think he'll be a big play in the red zone. This is an offense that literally could maybe pass for 5,000 yards. I'm not going to pass on Christian Kirk. And, because like Calvin Ridley goes down, Kirk's a league winner again. 1,108 last year.
Ridley is just not good, right? I mean, if we were certain that Calvin Ridley was going to be, my take that's been bullish on Ridley and Kirk is just if people were certain that Calvin Ridley was going to be what he'll be, when people talk about how down they are on Kirk, then like, why aren't we taking him in the middle of the second round? So I think like if we're baking that into both, do you guys care about the Kirk Zay stuff? Like, do you guys really believe that this team is gonna like play Zay Jones more snaps than Christian Kirk on passing downs when it gets into it? Like, I think it really strains credulity.
I think Zay's still the deep threat, and Kirk, like, we want the guys in the slot sometimes when they're good. Like, JSN's gonna be slot, but good. Kirk is slot, but good. Kirk also was a deep threat with Kyler. And is one of the highest paid.
Very overpriced, I think he's a slot receiver who's never been that good. He's been fine. He's never been that good. Like last year, he was pretty even with Zay Jones. They were like 1A, 1B. And right in the walkthrough, I was like, I don't see that much difference between these two guys. So like to me, that they're going to play Zay on the outside and keep Kirk in the slot makes all the sense in the world. Ridley's going to be an outside guy, and Zay's going to be an outside guy.
That was my biggest takeaway, is that this entire time Zay has been undervalued, especially because he led Kirk in targets over the second half of the season with 3 top 8 finishes that helped Kerrane spike 2 million. Like Zay was already good.
I didn't have.
No, everyone else had Zay.
He almost ruined everything.
Zay was already good. Like, you can't take that away from him. We can't just say, like JSN stealing from only Lockett. You can't just say that. Like, maybe Ridley steals from Kirk, not Zay. So I think Zay's the one, really the winner here.
I think Zay can rise, but I'm not like, okay, if you want to take Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin, Hollywood Brown, Gabe Davis over Kirk, Ayuk, like they're all probably
Gabe Davis into these situations, Liam.
Because Gabe Davis could, when you're attached to Josh Allen, you can go for 1,010 in a half-point PPR site, and not be that good.
I think I'm kind of in the middle where I still want Kirk easily over like the Tampa Bay guys and over Marquise Brown. But I do understand if you want to dock him behind, like I'm high on the Seattle guys for a similar reason as Jacksonville. I think the offense can just be really good. I like Deontay just being like an alpha target earner, so I like him. But I'm probably docking Kirk a little bit. But man, I'm clicking him over like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans like pretty easily, I think.
Why
So
is Ridley and Kirk not a cheaper AJ Brown and Smith or Tyreek
not as
and
good.
Waddle? Because there is, I understand there is other mouse in the offense.
Yeah,
but-
because Kirk isn't distanced ahead of the third receiver. Like Smith versus Quez Watkins is not the same as Christian Kirk versus Zay Jones. In fact,
it's
Zay
hard
Jones
to compare
may lead
those
in targets.
offenses, but the
Okay,
point is,
fine.
I think
It's
Kirk
also not
and
the
Ridley
same-
can be co-alphas. Like Ridley getting more, Kirk gets the
No.
second most.
No, they
I
can't.
mean, I don't care about this alpha stuff. I just care about like what's the offense going to look like? What's their target earning capacity like within the context of their offense? Like to me, Kirk, the more similar case is like I think he's pretty similar to like Amari Cooper and Mike Williams in terms of like guys who I would expect to be between like 0.2 to 0.21 targets per route run in a really favorable environment, and he goes later than those guys. Dotson.
Pittman sets
Probably
up a
need a-
stack. I'm down to get some running backs here, like Rashad White and James Cook. And Javonte, and like these are the three running backs I think have league-winning potential personally in this tier.
I'm fine with Javonte, and I'm good with Swift, and I'm good with Monty.
I would go White and James Cook personally, but also down to get Dotson.
I'm also down to get a receiver here. We only have 3 receivers. I'd like to get 1 receiver, and then I'm down with whatever running back.
I'm very good with Dotson, but what about Zay Flowers with Lamar?
Oh, that's a good call, actually.
Yeah, let's do that.
Although we could
we
probably
got
get
Zay.
him at 96 if we want. We could get
Maybe
Bateman at
not
96.
though.
Okay.
He might
We're
not
going
get in.
Zay,
It's a little
and
sharper here.
which running back does everyone feel good about? We'll start with Sam and go up. Sam,
We're
quick.
about to be split.
Oh, I didn't know I was on this team. I like over this crew. I like Cook and Javonte would be my top 2.
Give
Okay,
the man
Daigle?
James Cook.
Oh my
I will.
God.
That's fine. I'm gonna say I'll go White then Cook. That's how I'd rank them.
I would rank
Okay.
him White then Cook
Javonte,
too.
then Swift. Okay, I'm Cook 5th, but yeah, Javonte would be my guy.
Just take.
I'm
Cook.
between White and Cook. I'm down to go White. I think he's a
All right,
safer.
you want to go White?
Didn't
I
Cook
mean,
get
I go Cook more personally, but White's fine.
I really didn't think you'd click it. I thought you'd go.
I
Cook.
really didn't either. And you know
I
what?
didn't
He
believe
didn't. You missed your pick. It's right there on the bottom. The evidence. He
It's-
did not click it.
I couldn't
Either
really
one.
suss out how the whole gang felt. Cook was in the mix. White was in the mix. I feel better about White's chance to repeatedly give us 10, 12 points per game, which with this group of wide receivers, quarterback, and tight end is fine as your RB1. I'm more confident James Cook is going to have some huge games where he just like breakaway runs. And I don't know, like they gave James Cook a carry in the 10-yard line. You know, like what if they just don't use Latavius Murray and Damian Harris that much?
I mean,
I still think it's hard to suss out how it's going to play out.
200-pound back who was a committee back all the way through college, and I think a lot's being for like that's just a thin.
Are we talking about Jameer Gibbs or James Cook?
Oh,
James Cook. Jameer Gibbs and James Cook are not comparable college players. James Cook would never even hit a 10% receiving yards market share in college. Jameer Gibbs was putting up wide receiver breakout level. Like James Cook was a change of pace back. Like it's not like he was a.
I mean, Jameer Gibbs was kind of a change of pace back in college, to be honest.
Jameer Gibbs had a 20% receiving yards market share.
Okay, but how many carries did
Like
he have?
that doubles up Cook. Right, but
the Bills have shown that they'll use a guy though, Jacob. Right? Like, did Devin Singletary profile as 100% playoff snap guy to you? No.
No, but he's profiled as a guy who can handle workload because he had handled a workload before.
And Matt
He's
Nova.
like 205 pounds.
Matt Nova mentions
Right,
James
it's
Cook.
it's not just about the weight. Devin Singletary had 2 seasons over 250 carries as a college back.
There's a comment on Cook and FFPC, but Cook is now going like 5th, 6th round in FFPC. Like his ADP is getting.
Yeah, I reached on him in a slow draft in the 7th round just to get ahead of that steam.
Yeah.
And I've not been able to get him since then.
We took him in a slow draft main event. Let me pull up exactly where it was because I think we got a pretty nice price ultimately. Let's see.
He's like an auto click for me in the 7th and 8th when he still goes there, James Cook.
Yeah, we got him at 7-11. as our
Jacob,
as our
what
only
about
one.
what about the reports on Cook about him just like going coast to
The reports
coast?
are great, right? Like the reports are phenomenal. I just don't believe in the player, and I always go talent first and like long view profile first. And so like to me, like I don't have zero Cook. Like I think I'm like 6% Cook, so I'm slightly underweight, but it's not like he's been like a hard fade. But all that's at the 8-9 turn. Like as this price gets up into like places where we're no longer in timeshare running backs, like to me, clicking James Cook when the options were like Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Samaje Perine, like Michael Thomas, Tony, like that was fun. But like, yeah, him over Javonte Williams, like that's just such an absolutely vast talent gap to me that I can't.
What if I tell you that talent doesn't score touchdowns and the Bills could score like
talent
literally
does
25
score
more
touchdowns.
than the
Like,
Broncos?
Talent does score
absolutely
touchdowns.
No, I mean it's like this is why like in past years I didn't draft DJ Moore. I didn't draft Kyle Pitts. I wasn't just drinking the Kool-Aid on talent. I'm trying to assess who's going to score touchdowns from a top-down point of view and then sprinkle in those guys, right? So like I don't draft Broncos because they could suck.
I mean, Chris says that I'm dynasty pilled, which like fair enough. Like obviously I come from dynasty first, but like I think that trying to view these running backs from like a profile perspective has been successful. Like I think that's the same level of process where you get onto a Ramondre Stevenson. Like you get onto certain guys where you go over the full path of profile. It's like, what is this guy capable of doing? What isn't this guy capable of doing? What are they shown in the NFL? Like my issue with Cook is I see people outline a lot of the rushing efficiency stuff, and it's like light box, empty net carries, right? Like Tony Pollard proved, I think, before he got more work, that he was capable of sustaining efficiency on legitimate carries in a way that Cook doesn't. I mean, it's fine. We took Rashad White anyway, who I like more than James Cook.
I view them similarly. Who do you think will have a higher? I mean, let's make our picks here. I don't get a lot of Pacheco. I think in this range it's fine.
I'm good with him.
AJ Dillon, Khalil Herbert on the quote unquote reach. What is ADP is going to go here?
I would say Herbert totally belongs here.
Charbonnet.
I fucking love Khalil Herbert.
Kind of like going Herbert and
Charbonnet.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I like the
Sam?
team bet with in the big dog. The team bet with Charbonnet. We're just betting on Seattle being good and scoring points. I like that. I'm fine with Herbert. I think I like him over Dalvin and these other guys. So.
Yeah, I'd like him over Dalvin. I think I might move him ahead of AJ Dillon because I have no interest in AJ Dillon right now. But
man, AJ Dillon is like I kind of get it because he just like probably projects for so many carries, but. Is there a more boring click on the board?
I mean, he was disappointing last year. Like scored 150 points, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. He just feels so. I know he like is going to get close to 200 carries and like 30 catches, but somehow it's just such a boring click.
He's so boring.
Yeah,
like, I always feel like I should move him down because nothing moves the needle. It's like, yeah, it's like Juju. It's like, yeah, this projection won't move. He's not going to go higher. It's not going to go lower. It's just the same fucking projection the whole time.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, like AJ, it's funny that we talk about AJ Dillon this way because last year AJ Dillon was like, I know he's a backup running back, but he's so talented. We have to draft him in the fucking 5th, and now he's too boring to draft.
He's just so mad.
We do this.
I'm
we did this to Jamal
optimistic
Williams.
about
We kept going. Jamal Williams is too boring to draft, and then he wasn't.
For the record, like this isn't a comment, as in like I love AJ Dillon. This is just a meta commentary, but I
think AJ Dillon belongs.
Are absolutely the guys I like there.
I think he belongs in this tier. Contingent reasons,
totally.
like
I do too. Yeah,
like
this wasn't like a real. Yeah.
Like clearly as the goal line guy.
Dillon, Perine, and Charbonnet, like and Gibson are all kind of stylistically like the 1B with like contingent upside, right? So I think he's in that tier.
Yeah, and it's like I doubt any of you have huge bags on Aaron Jones, so you're cowards if you're not drafting AJ Dillon.
I certainly do not have
I've started mixing in. I'm definitely below market on Aaron Jones, but like on team, like for example, when I take like Watson in the 4th round and then Jones slides like half around to me, I'm just like, what if Jordan Love is really good and fuck it, I'll take like all the Packers points. I don't do it a ton, but I can kind of see
like
how
overweight every backfield.
Newsflash, I can DM Evan now.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah! Look at that.
Sam,
congratulations, man.
Who said you can't fire up a stream randomly and get 400 viewers and a bunch of
get Evan Silva to follow you. The whole point of this stream is accomplished.
Sam, if you have Christian Watson in the 4th and both Hawkinson and Jones fall to you, who do you take?
I would probably take Hawkinson there.
I like Hawkinson.
But I mean,
'Cause
like
I don't like
was-
either. I don't draft either Hawkinson or Jones much, but the times that I do is that correlation bet, and usually I'm like, I'd rather just do it with Hawk than.
Yeah, that's fair. The thing is, like, Jones was just still like so good last year. Like,
Oh yeah,
I don't know, he caught
Yeah.
nearly 60 passes, like 1,500 yards. He ran pretty bad on touchdowns, which is maybe, you know, kind of structural with Dylan there taking a lot of that work. But the Packers offense wasn't really that good last year, and Jones was still hyper efficient. You know,
Jones
I
is
don't
still
know.
good. He
Yeah.
hasn't
Yeah.
fallen off. Like, I'm quick to be
Yeah, I
like,
draft
this
Aaron
is
Jones,
bust, and I don't feel that way about Jones.
No, Aaron
Yeah.
Jones has been one of the most underrated running backs in NFL's whole career. He's awesome.
They
It's
have,
true joy. Just-
AJ Dillon was like a near zero until the end of year 2. Right? Like all his production came in those like final couple weeks, I think.
He got me a team to the BBM finals. Like, he had done nothing all year and then got a random 2 touchdown like spike week in week 16, I think. And
that's just what he does in December. Like,
Yeah.
you just give the ball to the 250-pound guy, and you're like, you know what? It's cold in Green Bay. What do you got, AJ Dillon? Who wants to tackle you?
Yeah.
Packers have the league's easiest passing schedule this year too.
So do you think this
And I
is
thought Love
this
looked
is a
good.
one-off?
Preseason, but he looked good.
A chain going in the mid-9th. Do you think this is a one-off, or do you think that the Dalvin Cook signing elsewhere is now confirmed to be better news for him than the preseason
Seems like a
side?
stray.
I don't think
I
he
was
should
gonna
ride as
make
much
it-
as Mostert and Wilson.
Yeah, I kind of
Because
agree
I was
with
going to
that.
make
Like,
an
he's
HM
fat.
case at 97, but I thought maybe he'd come back, but obviously he did not.
Dude, I mean, the thing is, not that I like think that the fact he was whatever 5th in the pecking order in preseason week 1 matters that much, but it's not like he should rise based off the preseason stuff. So I don't know. I don't think it's.
No,
I think this is kind
my
of
take
one-off.
my take is that the preseason stuff was kind of neither here nor there, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Dalvin Cook signing elsewhere is very good.
That is good, yeah. That's
Oh, I wasn't. I just don't think the market was sophisticated enough to be baking that into his price. You guys think it was
Although,
baked
I
into his
think they
price?
had to be because all the Miami
No,
running
the
backs
market
were
is
cheap,
terrible
and they're projected
everywhere.
to be.
Like,
Miami has a quarterback drafted in the 8th, and they have 2 wide receivers drafted in the first 18 picks. Like, to me, there has to be some level of Cook
Some
issue.
dude
Oh
just
my
rocking
God.
naked Gino
does
for the
Cook
world.
even matter for A-Chain, though? The more I think about, like,
I
Cook,
think he does.
Cook signing elsewhere is very good for Mostert and Wilson because, like,
That's how I
think
feel.
Cook is washed,
He's
but
the
I
same
think
way
those
with that.
guys aren't very good either. There's just pure opportunity. A-Chain is
I
a
mean-
talent-based bet.
Agree, but I think that like I think
Boys, let's
they-
circle it in real quick here. Just was around the
Kirk
clock.
Cousins?
We're not going Kirk because we have Lamar
Or the
can't go
buys.
Kirk.
and Gino
Yeah.
got taken from us.
Okay, Zay Jones is probably not a bad bet as a guy who will rise.
I would
And-
go
Kinda
the
like
Zay
honestly,
tank
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 and
mini.
Zay.
I would be down to grab Jalen Warren. I don't think it's crazy to grab
I'll never say no to Warren.
Gainwell, but he
I think we need.
no,
I
we're
think
not
we
doing
need
that.
Zay. We need the receiver at least for the build.
Gainwell's gone. Actually, I know he's there, but he's not going to make it back to us.
Well, let's find that out for ourselves. I would do Zay and Tank.
I don't
Zay and
mind,
Tank?
but if you want Warren, I mean, if you want Warren, it makes sense.
Sometimes Jamal.
I'm into Warren. I
I
love
think
Warren.
Warren
like
makes
Tank.
sense
I
for
like
the
Tank
Seattle
the
thing.
most, but
Is Jamal a big
Yeah,
winner
sure.
of the Kendre Miller injury? I know it's supposed to be a short 1 to 2 week thing, but
yeah. Well, did you guys see the Saints signing? Because they also signed a guy tonight.
yeah, the mentor, Darrell Williams.
Yeah.
Holy
We
shit!
We don't
I
really
think
need
he is
the
a
early
winner.
season stuff, though. It's more like what does the backfield need, right? We got Herbert, we got White. Like, we should have week 1 touches. We need some.
I like Warren the most, and I still think Warren
I like
could
Jalen
dust
Warren.
Najee.
I like Tank most, but I also love Warren, and I'm
I like
totally into-
Tank, but whatever. They're both fine.
I'm
Tank?
very into Warren. If you guys
Tank's
want Warren.
Tank's cool.
I just kind of juggled them, and it went
Yeah.
Warren.
I like Warren. That's okay.
I'm grabbing a
I'm
beer.
like
Hold
all
down.
in on
gang.
both those guys. So
I might grab a beer too. Oh, actually, I'm going to take Williams' absence as an opportunity to. I want to talk with Stevenson a little bit because I
went to the
Carlos
expo this weekend, so water, no beer tonight. I'm
Nice,
dying
nice.
over here.
So for me, like I was not convinced that any of this Zeke stuff was baked into Stevenson's ADP because he was kind of in the early to mid third before all this stuff happened, right? And then there were some rumors of Zeke, and he fell a little, but then it kind of came back up. So like, I don't know, the market seemed to view him without Zeke at all as sort of a early to mid third round pick. And I think Zeke is definitely much worse than not Zeke. Like, it's not a huge issue for him, but it's certainly like more concerning to have Zeke there than to be dealing with Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong. And I think Ramondre is more of a play on like a Josh Jacobs sort of touch consolidator who adds good efficiency at everything, but isn't like a superstar. So I do, if he goes from 70% of the snaps to 55, 60%, like that hurts. Do you guys not see it that way?
I think I just see this backfield as one that is going to be among the leads in running back touches. Like, you just how bad their wide receivers are. Look at what they probably want to do as an offense. I think they're going to have a ton of running back carries. You're going to have a ton of running back targets. And so, like, 100% of the Patriots running back touches to me would be like 450 touches, which is just like not going to be the case for anybody. Like, I had a lot of touches delegated to Strong, Harris, and other in my projections on the first run. I'll give Zeke pretty much all of those. Like, to me, it's like, it's not a matter of like Ramondre had all of the work and then Zeke is going to come in and steal it. To me, it's like Ramondre was going to get as much work as he could get, and there was still a ton of spillover for these other guys. Now that spillover is going to go to Zeke. And then the only issue is the situational usage. Like, Zeke's going to take a bunch of low value carries that, like, just in the flow of the offense. That's fine. Ramondre wasn't going to get those anyways. I still would be really surprised if Zeke plays pass downs. Like, I get the pass blocking, but he's like a 0 as a receiver at this point. Like, his receiving stats are so bad. And I guess he could split some goal line, but I mean, last year with Harris and Ramondre, they didn't really do situational usage. It was like if the person happened to be with the team when they got down to the goal line, they got the goal line carries. And so I think that was kind of just going to happen with Zeke, but I think it would kind of happen with whoever that supplementary back was going to be. So I moved Ramondre down a slight little bit, but not a lot, because I don't think my projection on him will change that much. I'm mostly just giving Zeke a bunch of Strong, Harris, and placeholder carries.
Hey, Pat, why did you need me to leave to talk about Ramondre?
Just so I could talk without getting interrupted.
I just don't know how often they'll be in a position to use Zeke. Like, I do think he's the primary goal line back, but how often will they be
primary
in that spot?
goal line back? Really?
I think so. Yeah. Just he's still so efficient at that. But like,
they're not going to get that many goal line opportunities.
I agree. Like, and their defense, it goes unnoticed because everyone just looks at EPA. Their defense was bad last year. All they did was pad stats against rookies and backup quarterbacks. When they played anyone average to above average, they permitted 29 points per game against literally quarterbacks ranked average or better. And all they did was add Christian Gonzalez in the first round. So I think it's like a great situation from fantasy, and not so much running, but like the passing offense. That's why I have Hunter Henry, Mac Jones stacked late. Like, it's going to be a ton of volume for them because no one's seeing that their defense isn't good.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, like, I think last year there's a little bit of revisionist history with Ramondre. Like, he did not completely dust Harris in the games where they were both healthy. Actually, in those games, and I was looking at this, but this tweet's from Dwayne McFarland. Games with healthy Harris in 2022, Ramondre only had a 47% rush attempt share. And in those games, because he had such a huge target share and pass down role, he still got to like 16 PPR points per game. Now, is that like an amazing threshold for, a 1-2 turnaround pick or something? No, but where he's going to go in the late third, I think you can like give Zeke a pretty healthy workload if you're going through projections and still.
Let's pause real quick, Sam, and make our
Ramondre.
picks.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like, Harris was part of it. I don't know. What do you boys want to do here? It got gross quick. There's like Roshan, I'd be fine as just kind of like
Roshan found it.
Roshan's good.
I think I like the Miami running back.
I like
I'm good with I'm good. I'm very in on Roshan, and I'm very
Mostert
on
and
either Miami
Wilson.
back.
I'd be down to go 2 running backs because like
Yeah,
we're reaching on wideouts here.
There's no receiver that I want to take because Mims is gone, obviously, right?
Yeah, I mean, we just got. I'd say we scoop the running backs and just take wide receivers because this is like there's no difference between Van Jefferson and Rashid.
Yeah,
Shaheed.
I agree.
Sure.
Are we all Mostert or Wilson? Obviously, we're reaching big time for Wilson by ADP, so I'd like to get some Mostert, but that's just my bag.
I'm fine getting Mostert.
That's fine.
I agree with Sam where it's like that's part of the reason I was bullish on Damian Harris to start the year is like if he didn't get hurt, Ramondre would not have gotten as big a workload as he did.
Well, okay, so I partly agree and partly disagree. The usage was pretty consistent when Harris was there, outside of like some very late season stuff. But it was basically Ramondre and Harris would rotate every single drive, but Ramondre would play every snap on his drive, and then Harris would leave the field every third down. So Ramondre was basically playing like half the running downs and then getting all of the receiving downs. And then no matter whose drive it was, Ramondre would always get the 2-minute drill. So like it was kind of a 50-50 split, but like depending on how the game flow would go, it would either be 60-40, or if Harris just kind of got the short end of the drives and there was more snaps in comeback mode, it could all of a sudden turn into an 80-20 in a given game. If that's the split again, like with Zeke just taking the Harris stuff, I think that's fine. But I also think we're just underestimating the chance that like Zeke has a legitimate role for 5 weeks, looks like the worst running back in professional football, and is never used again.
And it's also like the Patriots. Sorry, one last point. Like, you know, Liam's going to say the Patriots suck again, but they're going to be better than they are last year, right? Like,
yeah, they're going to be better than that.
That's the thing is like the Ramondre
I think they are
last
too.
year. Yeah, like the Ramondre stats are good from last year. And that what if the offense is just like the 20th best in the league instead of the 31st or whatever?
Tough.
Right?
They have a really hard schedule though compared to last year, in my opinion.
They do have a tough schedule.
How do you guys think the market would react if Dalvin Cook was a Patriot and Zeke was a Jet?
Well, this is
Ramondre,
a great.
I think would drop
I'm
way more.
I'm going to sit this out, but I'm really curious what you guys think.
Yeah, because I think Ramondre would fall way more than he's going to.
Yes.
And that kind of speaks to our priors on Brees. If we acknowledge that Ramondre would fall a lot more because Dalvin Cook is either a perceived threat or a real threat, and we just discard Zeke, like how do you guys think that would change? Jakob, Daigle, Sam, before we hear that one.
I think that Ramondre and if Cook went to the Patriots, I think that Ramondre and Cook would be drafted pretty closely together. I just think
You think Ramondre and Cook would be drafted next to each other if Cook was a Patriot?
Not next to each other, but closer together. I really
put around on it.
But my experience, I think Ramondre would go somewhere between like behind Ken Walker and Aaron Jones, but ahead of like the Madison Sanders crew.
And what about Cook?
And then Dalvin, I think, would go like just behind like the Monty Rashad White grouping. That would be my anticipation. I just think people.
You have Cook where?
Struggle to buy into the Ramondre Stevenson talent argument as much as like I believe it to be true. But like I think people are a little skeptical of it, and I think people are very sketched out of Patriots running backs. And like I think people are more willing to hold the line on Breece Hall because he has the pedigree and because his talent is more like obvious to the eye because he's so explosive. That people are more willing to just be like, he'll just beat this guy off the field. Whereas with Ramondre, I think if he got a bunch of competition, people are like, oh, never trust a Belichick back. Like, don't trust a late round back. Like, I think people are always like one toe in the water, one toe out with Stevenson.
I think with Dalvin too, there's at least like some small percentage of me that's like, what if he's actually not washed and it was just the shoulder injury? Like, I don't think that's the most likely scenario, but I think we have to admit, like, you look at his speed, like his on the field speed, that was not diminished at all last year. Like his breakaway runs and breakaway speed, like measured by next gen stats or whatever, was like as fast as any ball carrier in the NFL. Now at contact, he was terrible. He was not breaking tackles. So there's at least a part of me that's like, maybe he fixed that shoulder surgery and he can be back to the old Dalvin. With Zeke, I'm like, there's no chance Zeke is coming back.
Let's pause real quick because I think that's
fair to say he's better than Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, like anyways, I'm gonna dip out here. I'm gonna dip out here, guys. Thanks for having me on, Liam. I gotta go, but
bye, Sam. You got to share. Thanks for coming on. Kenny Pickett stacks with Warren.
Well, I think we need some at least one receiver, right?
We can skip quarterback, figure it out later. Darius Slayton.
Have you ever heard the word of Devontae Parker?
Fine. I would go like Slayton and Michael Wilson over these two.
Parker gives us a backdoor stack, though.
Okay,
it's true. It's
not one I want, but
I like Parker for sure.
I'm Slayton over Parker, like pretty easily. Personally,
well, then let's go these two.
Let's just take them both.
because we need the wide receivers.
I'm fine. I'm actually totally fine with both. Yeah.
So I was looking while y'all were
Like,
talking.
what about Justin Ross? Do you guys want to buy into that preseason touchdown or no?
Not with Flowers and JSN
No,
on the team,
thank
right?
you.
We need guys who are going to be out there scoring.
We need
points.
usable
Especially
guys. Yeah,
because,
that's the
yeah,
one
we're probably
scary thing
taking
about
in-
Ross.
And our eighth wide receiver, whoever it is going to fucking suck. So like it's
or be a late
dicey
season
as well.
play. But I like to
Sure.
layer my wide receiver rooms like my running back rooms in best ball. You know.
Yeah.
So I was looking for my Patriots stats because, like, again, I'm very high on the Patriots offense bouncing back. I think it's going to be a fun team for fantasy. Also because I think they're going to get steamrolled. But
You were sick, man. One
for-
team for fantasy.
for reference, last year's offense was Bill Belichick's first in 22 years as head coach to average fewer than 61 plays per game. They averaged 59, and then also their touchdown rate inside the red zone was 41.5%, which was the 11th worst mark of the last decade. The last 13 teams that failed to reach 42% scoring inside the red zone all increased their scoring the following year on average by 20.5%. So we're looking at like some major usage bumps here, not to mention Bill O'Brien just being wiser than Matt
Yeah.
Patricia and Joe Judge. So yeah, I think
Just
genuinely
being qualified.
I
Just
think the
being an
offense is
offensive
actually like
coordinator.
significantly sneaky for fantasy, just to be fun out there.
I don't
do
think
too, man.
people consider schedule enough. Like, let's talk about the games they have to play. They got
They
to
have
play
to
the
throw
Eagles.
a lot.
They got to play the Dolphins, got a good defense. They got to play the Jets, a good defense. They got to play the Cowboys, a good defense. They got to play Saints, a good defense. The Raiders have a bad defense. The Bills have a good defense. The Dolphins have a good defense.
This team
Commanders-
is locked to be 1-7. Holy shit.
Yeah.
They're gonna be
Oh,
throwing
it's
all the
Colts.
time.
it's tough.
Probably
They're going to be
winnable
throwing
games
all the
for
time.
Colts. Giants, they're going to lose to. Chargers, they're going to lose to. Good defense. Steelers got a good defense.
I
Chiefs
don't
are
give
going
a
to kill
shit
them.
what their record is.
Yes,
I'm drafting
talking
a
about
15th
volume.
round wide receiver.
Yeah, but you also need to consider that there are coaches that are willing to lose by the least rather than trying to win. Like we literally saw Aaron Rodgers against the Bills last year try to lose by the least. We saw Bill Belichick turtle several times last year where he chose to lose by the least rather
You're
than
right
trying
about
to
that.
win.
He turtled in March when he hired fucking Patricia. That's when he turtled.
I mean, this is a bloodbath of a schedule. Like they're
I
not
can't
going to
believe-
score.
Bill Belichick is the only coach in the league that could have survived, maybe Andy Reid, hiring Matt Patricia as offensive coordinator and having it go exactly as you would
Wait,
expect it to
Hey,
go.
and architect.
And also, like Mac Jones might just get benched after he has to go through this buzzsaw of like Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, Cowboys, and then they're just like doing the zappy Mac Jones thing again. I don't know. Like, I'm just not convinced that Bill O'Brien, who was so
Malik
sharp that he
Cunningham.
traded away DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, that he's going to be the savior of New England.
No, okay, Bill O'Brien is a terrible
gonna be.
GM, and
Yeah,
he's not
that's
even
not-
that good of an offensive coordinator. But the important thing is,
No,
that
don't bring
he's
up facts that he
an
did,
offensive
Pat says. Don't
coordinator.
bring up what he did.
He
No, I
is
mean, but
an-
how is
Yeah,
that
but
relevant? Like, why don't you
it's
talk
not
about
relevant.
like I don't know some like dumb shit he did? Like, oh,
The point is he's an idiot.
this
you
dude
know, like-
killed Nvidia right before it took off. He's a fucking moron. Like, it's not relevant. Whether or not he traded DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, which is really fucking stupid, of course, is not relevant to his ability to design an offense. He's a
He
baseline
chose David Johnson for his
professional
offense.
offensive
You
coordinator.
realize that, right? And said DeAndre Hopkins is not part of it.
Yeah, but can he create a scheme and get players to execute that scheme and it makes some tiny amount of sense at all? This is an improvement over Kitchen. This is a fucking
I think it's
improvement.
a significant improvement.
Yeah. Over
But
Matt
like
Patricia.
Bill Belichick chose those guys. And like
but Liam,
he's still there.
Even just think like Bill O'Brien's last season on the Texans, the team was horrible because he made a bunch of horrible decisions. They also led the league in yards per attempt passing. It was a terrible
Yeah.
team, but it had a totally functional offense. Deshaun Watson threw for 1,000,000 yards. Like I understand Deshaun Watson's not on the Patriots, but like that team's offense was fully functional for fantasy football.
they had a much easier schedule last year.
It was a different offense.
Yep.
I don't
It was
know.
an offense.
2 years ago
Now
with
it
Mac
is.
Jones, they were 7th and 9th in yards and points per drive. Last year, they dropped to 24th and 26th, but they showed a ceiling. Like
As a
literally
rookie.
one year
As a
removed from
rookie.
showing a ceiling.
You're right. I'm abandoning. Like last year, I was saying stuff like maybe Mac could develop into a Kirk Cousins type.
Yeah.
You know, which would be like a huge win for New
It's
England.
fine. I don't
But
even know
then
if
I
he's
saw
good. but
last
they're
year-
fine. They're going to be better.
They're going to be
It's like
better.
once you-
It's easy,
once you
dude. This is an
lose-
easy one. They're going to be better.
Once you lose 33-14 to the Bears on Monday Night Football,
Mac
Bailey
Jones is like
Bailey
the
Zappi was hot
last.
for that quarter, though.
Mac Jones is like the last quarterback drafted of anyone
Yes.
with a starting job, which is nuts. That's nuts.
And I'd start him in Superflex leagues as like a QB2. I think it's fine.
Yeah. He'll be fine. He'll be
What's
fine.
the seal? Like Baker's got a higher ceiling.
Pat basically sounds like when like a married couple is having a fight, and you're like, "Can you go? Like, can you go mow the lawn?" You're like, "Fine," and then you're like grumbling around in the yard. And it's like, "Are you sure you're okay?" It's like, "I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine."
Is Mac Jones gonna be good this year? He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Guys, we're on the clock here. Sam Howell is like the only quarterback with ceiling, so I kind of down to grab him. We got 3 more picks left in this draft. We obviously need another tight end as well. It's like Conklin or bare bones. I'm down for Howell Conklin. We can do your Mac Jones.
There's a
We
what
get
about
Henry and
100%
Mac Jones,
Are we
baby.
doing? Are we doing Henry and Mac Jones after all this?
Henry and Mac Jones.
All right,
Stop being such a
fine.
coward.
All right.
Where is Matt?
Well,
Does anyone care? Does anyone care about the 100% route rate of Hayden Hurst?
by the way, we can.
Yeah, I don't
that's
draft
true.
these guys, but I'm drafting it because of you guys.
Wait, don't take Mac yet. Don't take Mac. We can get our wide receiver first. He literally is available in the very last round.
Someone's not going to let us have him. Like, and we're splitting.
Then
No,
like take
they
Ritter or some
always
shit.
let
It
us
doesn't
have
matter.
him.
We have
All
Lamar.
right, Michael Wilson.
Oh, Justin
take
Ross is we still
He's
need
gone.
usable one.
I would consider Ross.
Sure.
I also like Deontay Hardy and Corey
Well, if
Davis.
we're going Hardy, we should just go Mac.
I think
I
Corey.
like Corey
yeah,
Davis.
I go Corey Davis is fine by me if you don't want to go Ross.
Okay, Ross is fine.
Ross.
Ross is fine.
Let's talk about
I
Ross.
like the team, but it's fine.
He scored that touchdown in the preseason. That can't be viewed as bad. Now, he played after all of the other dudes in Chiefs Kingdom. It was like him and James playing late.
Yeah.
How are we viewing Ross? Potential league winner? I still think that is like in the
Justin
cards.
Ross is. I like Justin Ross better when he was named Deion Kane.
Yeah, I would have rather gone Howell Cole Turner. That's a good point from the chat.
Cole Turner.
What?
Cole Turner isn't Logan Thomas still the tight end one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been like banged up all camp, and all the buzz on Cole Turner's been
Logan
pretty good.
Thomas has been banked up all life.
You know who's Jeremy Ruckert's generating buzz. We don't draft every tight end who fucking beat rotor said.
I have one share of Jeremy Ruckert.
God damn it, Liam. That's like such a good counter. I am drafting Ruckert.
I was boxed out at tight end, and it was like between him and Luke Schumacher, and I have enough Luke Schumacher.
Take
So
Durham
it's like,
Smythe, dude.
There's no way those were the only two options.
If we would have taken
There was surely
Dotson,
another
Hal
option.
would have made more sense there. But alas, here we are.
Liam, you can't convince me that the only two options available to you were Luke.
it was
Schumacher.
DraftKings. All these versions were drafting 4 tight ends. It got rough quick.
Oh man. Was it one of the Dan Zach drafts? Just everyone was just following suit.
Yeah, Justin Herzig
Was it
showed
one of
me a
the- one of
DM
the
where he
34
said,
round,
I just spent the whole draft sniping Liam's team. Never felt better or something. And I know the draft that Dan did that in. And this is why I didn't want to talk about it on stream the other day. I think Malik Cunningham got drafted. How is this
Mac
feel,
Jones.
Mac Jones saviors? Who is that?
I don't know.
Cunningham?
Sonny Dan just punting off money.
I had Malik Cunningham on my college fantasy team, and he was absolutely sick. So I thought
He's
it's a good
fun.
pick.
He's fun as hell. Yeah.
By the way, this beer was frozen and just exploded on me. So didn't even
Whenever they announced like they were playing him at wide receiver and they were going to look at him at quarterback, I was like, hell yeah, like we got him back.
Was he how?
No
how
chance in
heavily-
the
like, I
NFL,
don't
but he's
play-
fun as hell.
I
How
don't
about
play any
Jimmy's
preseason
backup?
DFS, but how chalky was Malik Cunningham in preseason DFS?
No, not at all. Actually,
Really?
He was single digit. Yeah, because we didn't even know if he was going to get a quarter. No one was sure.
Aiden
What was the
O'Connell.
background?
Are we thinking that there's any chance Aiden O'Connell is playing football over Jimmy G later in the season?
I mean, what?
Non-zero
There's
chance.
always
For the
a chance.
purposes of drafting him in a big dog? No.
No, we're not drafting him in I'm just discussing news. We're gonna obviously we know who we're drafting.
Aiden
I was forced into this gross Mac Jones stack.
Liam, what
I
did you-
am
what
surprised
did
Tank
you-
Dale. I'm surprised Tank Dale didn't raise more in ADP. People are smart.
Well, I mean, that's still like an ambiguous wide receiver room where we don't know really the order of 1 through 5.
Cole Turner's going in the 17th round now, so what the fuck do we know?
Things change quick in the best ball streets. It's a very fear-based market.
We can't. Aiden O'Connell, there's a non-zero chance we could see him this year. There's no way they throw out Brian
I
Hoyer. Like, still the worst quarterback we've seen the last decade besides Ian Book was Brian Hoyer.
Ian Book.
Ian Book changed the game
Yeah, that
forever.
was an experience.
They got rid of COVID rules just because they saw Ian Book on Monday night and said, we can't have this happen again.
Right. They saw Kendall Hinton and they said this is fine, but they saw Ian Book and
Yes.
they said that's too
That's
much.
how bad Ian Book was.
For our 4 audio stream listeners, we got Lamar, Rashad White, Khalil Herbert, Charbonnet, Jalen Warren, Roshan Johnson, Mostert, Justin Jefferson, JSN, Tyler Lockett, Zay Flowers, Zay Jones, Devontae Parker, Darius Slay, and Justin Ross, Mark Andrews, and Hunter Henry. And we are finishing this bad boy off with Mac Jones as our QB2.
I think this is a good team.
Yeah.
Pretty good team.
Pretty good team. Don't love
We
the
Can't wait
got
to
one
get
bullet.
1/11th of the winnings.
It's just, it feels like everyone who's like plugged into best ball is like, and I'll finish my draft with the Hunter Henry, Devontae Parker, Mac Jones combo. And it's like, I'll just draft literally anyone else those rounds.
That's both true and probably sharp. So fuck off.
Like, how many times have you heard Davis on stream say, and then I got my Mac Jones, Hunter Henry combo?
Yeah, I've done it a bunch. I've done it
I
a whole
do
lot.
it so much. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
3 of my most drafted players.
Hunter Henry is one of my top 5 drafted players right now. For
Yeah.
better or worse. Maybe I have
didn't
no
know I was
reason.
lacking it.
Maybe I have no reason to be making fun of the Cole Turner stands.
Devontae
I mean, he
Parker's
is a
like my
starter.
fifth most drafted
He is a
wide receiver.
starter.
It
That-
feels
Oh
bad.
yeah, he is definitely a starter.
Who else has a share of this? Davis and
You know it's bad when you can't fit the number of people who have a share of the team.
Yeah,
did
The
we give
character
Gretch
limit
any?
prevents you from knowing.
It's
Gretch
Pat,
didn't make a pick.
Jacob,
So that's a little
Davis, John. We'll just have to do John, no Daigle, and
Gretch-
Sam.
Sam.
Gretch
I
may
don't
have
think
like
No, Gretch didn't even last the pick. He's out.
Yeah.
Oh, Gretch was just saying hello.
Well, how would we
Alright,
have known to take Justin Jefferson without Gretch?
A 6-way split here. I think the team's
Came
pretty
after
good.
Jefferson.
Like the running backs. Obviously, Lamar locked and low is our quarterback. Got a good tight end. Boys, we're coming on 2 hours of the stream here. Any closing thoughts of free agency or really anything you want to tell the people about life, about football, about if they're experiencing burnout, the highs and lows? Lay it on the line.
Don't draft scared. You know, draft some Brees Hall. All the money's in week 17. Okay, you're getting 4th round, maybe even 5th round Brees Hall the rest of the way. What a goddamn time to be alive. Let's get that
draft like
money.
you won $2 million last year, right, Pat?
Don't draft scared, he says, as he touts Mac Jones and Hunter Henry. You got to get that correlation.
I expected to jump on for like 5 minutes, give a Dalvin Cook take, and then get off. And here we are, 2 hours later, a big dog in selling you on the Patriots offense. What a fun time.
For me,
Yeah,
we had a couple first guests. We had the first showing of Gretch on the channel. Tried to book him a while. I'm sure he'll get back to me on that. Had the first showing of Evan Silva on the channel. Look for him to come back on. Had the first showing of Sam Sherman on the channel. So a stream of first. Maybe I've always wanted to, in poker, they have these Twitter spaces where just all the people jump on. And I really think the fantasy football community could do these Twitter spaces type thing. That's kind of what this is. It's like breaking news. We fired up a stream. I just sent out the link to a bunch of people. They have a bunch of free time too. They jumped on. I mean, Jacob's in Ireland. Daigle in his wonderful corner of the house that he always shows us, doing his rankings. And so there you go.
When I woke up today, I did not think I would be streaming with Pat, Liam, and Daigle at 2:38 a.m. Galway time. So here we go.
Anything anyone's got a tout? You can find Daigle at 4 for 4, Pat at Legendary Upside, Jacob's got a Substack. Don't expect a thumbnail or anything else really from this channel. Hit the subscribe button for me.
I actually wanted you to stream yourself trying to make a thumbnail for this because it would have been an absolute mess.
You can go back and watch Pete
You can
and
make a
I.
thumbnail proportionate to the time spent on screen. So a really big Pat, a moderately sized Daigle and Jacob, a really tiny Ben Gretch just peeking out in the corner.
All right,
Glitchy, frozen Evan Silva.
All right, guys. Well, it'll be fun. Maybe we'll do this again in a week or two and see the fallout of the market, and we can recap our legendary stream. Peace out, everybody. Drink water. Tell your family you love them. Do all those things.
Later.